my goodness. Oh my God. What's going on, everyone? What just happened? What just happened? Pardon my lateness. I had to take the dog out. I figure, we go live for like 2 hours. I just figured get the dog out, take him out for a quick little walk, post my quick little reaction. Oh man, we are here, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with our live after show call in for House of the Dragon, episode 7, which was titled Driftmark. Ooh, we had a funeral. And what they say about funerals is a wedding probably right around the corner. And we got a wedding and a funeral all in this episode and everything in between. I lost an eye, but I gained a dragon. We got the little lies and deceit. We got Team Black, Team Green, fake deaths. This was fantastic. We got cousins hooking up, marrying each other. Alliances have been made. Teams have been assembled. What a fantastic episode, everyone. What an absolute and incredible episode of House of the Dragons. And I'm so excited to be here with you all. Let me know in the chat right now before we start sharing the link and getting our live discussion going. Where does your alliance stand after this episode? Are you Team Black? I'm Team Black all day. I'm rocking Team Black. It was questionable tonight, but I'm still on Team Black. Or are you on Team Green? Which right now, I wouldn't blame you. They got Vagar, they got Kristen, they got Allison, they got Otto, they got Damon, or not Damon, they got my man Aemon, who's, lost an eye, gained a dragon. We got, it's a stacked squad over there. But, Team Black, we got a married couple. And some drama and all that stuff. So let me know where you all stand on Team Black versus Team Green. And of course, how you all felt about this episode. I'm obviously just removed from it, just like you all are. So I can't place it right now, but it is, this might be my favorite so far, man. This might have dethroned, because episode 4 is my favorite. This might have taken over in episode 4 for me. I mean, literally the funeral at the beginning, then the hookup with those two, and then the kids, which we talked about last week. The kids wasn't all that great last week, but man, those kids were fantastic. My heart was, if you guys joined the watch along, I was on the edge of my seat during that fight sequence. I didn't know what was going to happen. Again, I haven't read the books. I don't look up spoilers. I go into this as fresh as can be. So I thought one of those kids was going to die. But came close to death, lost an eye. And then the tension in that room, between Allison and Rhaenyra, the grabbing cat's paw, man, that was all incredible. The truth has been said to everyone as far as who those children, who the daddy of those children are, the bastards, and then the marriage. Oh man, this is great, man. This is a fantastic episode of House of the Dragon. So let me go ahead and get the link. Let me copy the link and listen. We do this every week, y'all. If we invite anyone and everyone to join. So if you want to join the panel, share your thoughts. Again, we've had guests on for the entire duration of the show. We've had a variety of different guests, 6 people on the panel at once. So by all means, don't be afraid, don't be scared. Come on, join the discussion if you want to. Of course, share your thoughts and opinions. And again, you can stay the whole time. You can stay for 15 minutes or share your thoughts for 5 minutes. I invite you all to come join me. And again, this is a live after show call in. So as I'm saying all this, let me go ahead and put the link in the chat now. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the link and I'm going to put it in the chat. So click the link if you would like to join. All right, so I'm gonna prep. Let me just read these comments here, and we're gonna go ahead and invite some people in. But let me see where you guys are at with this episode. My man Johnny in the building. What an episode! Yes, what an episode. Rims, my jaw was yes. Rims, we were obviously she joined us for the watch along. Shout out to you. What an episode. What's going on? So excited, very excited. This episode was crazy. That is an understatement. This episode was bananas. Kimmy, what's going on? Holy moly, what an episode! Man, holy moly. Whew, that was a lot of gas, a lot of fire, a lot of blood in this episode, man. I mean, come on, man. We had a funeral. My man got married the day later after losing his wife. Craziness. But again, shout out to all y'all joining me live. Appreciate you. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that share button, and let's get the conversation going. So right now, as I speak, clicketh the button. The button has been clicked, and the link is in. As it's loading, the link should be in the chat now. Let me go ahead and pin that link. So again, we over here like to have a good time. So anyone and everyone's invited to join and to share your opinion on tonight's episode, have a discussion. We have a good time over here. So let me go ahead and pinned the link. So that link to tonight's stream is pinned in the comments. So it should be on the top of the chat. So if you guys click that StreamYard link, you can actually enter the StreamYard, share your thoughts, and have a discussion with me in this amazing community. So I hope to see some people coming into the back room here shortly. But in the meantime, while we get that situated, let me read off you guys' comments. Incredible episode. I agree. Great episode. Yep. I think a lot of us feel like this was a great episode. But my question is it the best? Is it the best episode so far? That's my question I have for you all. Why does the after show start so late? Are you talking about this? Well, the after show, I'm trying my best, y'all. I do a live watch along. I got to take my dog out. I do my little live reaction on the short YouTube. So it's just a little late. Forgive me. Forgiveth me, Lord. But, we here now. That's all that matters, right? Let's see who else we got in here. Yes, that was I have to walk the dog. Like I said, we be live for 3 hours, so I need to make sure the dog isn't, running around the house or whatnot. So we got guests coming in the back room, and I'm so excited to have them on and get their thoughts on it. Starting in with one of my favorite people on the internets right now, and so glad I was able to link up with her the last few weeks. We talked to her this morning when we were in Atlanta. Now we're on our dragons. We're in Westeros. We went to a funeral. We saw a wedding and everything in between. I'm talking about my homegirl, Elle. Elle, how we feeling?
Hey, what's going on? This was a one. This was a good one. It's always at the repast. The drama happens.
Oh man. Drama. Ooh, yeah. I said we got like I said, a funeral and we got a wedding all in one episode. Yeah. How did they make it happen, Elle? How did they make it happen?
I don't know. Somebody needs to go check on Damon's children and do like a little welfare check on them because
oh boy.
I was about to get into it. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna relax.
Well, Elle, before we get into it, again, I'm so happy to have you on with us tonight. If this is the first time people are seeing you and introducing you or seeing you for the first time, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let them know who you are and when they can find your content.
Hi, everybody. My name is LB. My channel is Watch With Me LB, where I give you fun, fresh, and funny ranch reviews and recaps on my favorite movies and TV shows. This is definitely one of my favorite TV shows right now. They are giving us the fire, the heat, the blaze, the spice with this one. So I'm excited to be here to talk about this episode. I have many thoughts, as I usually do, about the things that I see on TV, but I'm going to have a recap of this episode on my channel, hopefully tomorrow. And I like to talk about all the things that are popping. I'm really, really looking forward to what the MCU has at the latter part of this year. So be on the lookout for that. So if you like to laugh and you like to communicate and get in the chat and give me your opinion and have some feedback, come on over to my channel, please subscribe. And yeah, I'm ready to chop it up.
Yes, y'all. Do yourself a favor. Check her out. I'm going to leave that link, all that stuff. By the time this video is fully uploaded on YouTube, her link will be in the description of this video. You're going to want to subscribe because she brings that fire, just like this show. So, Elle, very excited to have you on. And we got another guest in the back room returning again. I'm happy to have him back on, hear his thoughts. He always comes with the great insights, the good jokes, and all the good energy in the world. So I'm happy to bring back the homie. G, what's going on, man?
What's going on, y'all?
Hey, G.
Whew. G, man, like I was telling Elle, man, we had a funeral, and then my man was like, you know what, I lost my wife and all, but I'm going to go ahead and sleep with my cousin, and I'm going ahead and marry her, and all that stuff, G. It was
no time.
One of those nights, man.
Facts. They ain't waste no time. This joint was rocking. I ain't gonna say this.
They didn't let us breathe, man. It was just scene after scene, and we're gonna talk about those kids too, because we talked about them last week. The kids was like, can they really hold their own? Them kids came to play tonight, and they came with knives and fists and everything else, man. Woo.
They jumped them.
They jumped them. Look, before we get into that, G, why don't you go ahead and either reintroduce yourself to the people or introduce yourself for the people for the first time now.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? My name is G. I'm from Jonato Reviews. I review movies, anime, TV shows on YouTube, and I got a podcast as well called The Why I'm Geek Show, where me and one of my best friends, have what we like to call civil discussions, but sometimes, things might get a little heated, but, we cover everything from the MCU, House of Dragons, anything that's on TV. and I got a Intergalactic movie that just dropped on Netflix. I'm gonna review that joint. That joint was fire. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming.
Nice, man. Yeah, I saw. I'm a Kid Cudi fan, so I saw a little bit of it last night. I didn't get to finish it, but it looked pretty dope. I'm the stat. It looked like kind of Into the Spider-Verse animation, which was dope. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that and seeing what you got for us, man. But we got another one of the guests in the back room. This gentleman here, so excited to have him back. Get his thoughts, see what he thought about which side of the team he's on. Is he team black? Is he team green? We'll talk about that. But I got my man Johnny. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Good to be here.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, team black all the way, man.
Team black. Okay. You're rocking the black. So I see you, Johnny. It was Johnny, man. I was telling people on the live stream and the watch long, I was kind of on the fence, man, because Rhaenyra and my man Damon killing people, getting married on the same day. You lose your wife. I'm like, the decisions in this team is kind of all over the place, Johnny.
They are, but the treachery of Team Green has just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, they got a dragon too, Johnny. They got a dragon, and the biggest one in
Westeros. In the chat was like, "I'm Team Vhagar and I'm Team Black." Well, you can't be Team Vhagar and Team Black because Vhagar is on Team Green now. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, so that's going to change things a little.
Yeah,
with that powerful old dragon.
Ooh. They got a veteran. They got the, for my basketball fans out there, this is like the Miami Heat getting Shaq back. When he left the Lakers. They got the Diesel on their team, man. But Johnny, before we get into tonight's discussion, man, why don't you go ahead and introduce to the people out there, man?
Yeah, I'm a screenwriter and filmmaker in San Diego, and actually I just got done. I was by the shore today doing some promos for the San Diego International Film Festival, where a bunch of our short films are going to be shown. So, check out my links. I keep threatening to get on YouTube one of these days, and I will.
Yes, sir. We're going to make it happen, Johnny. We're going to get you on the YouTubes, and everyone can see how, awesome your content is, man. But listen, y'all, before we kind of get into the thick of things, just starting with you, El, we got a little bit of a taste of where you were with this episode, but just kind of initial impressions of this episode. I know it's a lot to ask because we got 6 episodes prior to this, but is this number one for you, El? Your thoughts on this episode?
I don't know. You got to give me some time to process.
I know, right? I know. That's the same. I'm saying
I can't give my ranking right now because it's things that I like. I guess the first time I remember feeling like blown away was that scene on the bridge when Rhaenyra went to go get that egg. That thing just took me out. Mm-hmm. But the cinema, like this episode was beautiful. Intense, and it was
score. Oh my goodness!
And then the wedding. I don't put that kind of pressure on me. It's too, it's too quick. I gotta give me some time. But this episode was phenomenal. It really, really was. It was. I think you mentioned it that it was the first time the entire cast was
together
one scene, and I watched the little post show that they run right after, and Miguel was saying that this was, I think that was Miguel, was saying that this was the first time the entire cast was actually together. It was one of the first scenes that they filmed for the show.
No pressure.
So really
no pressure.
For that tension
Jesus.
Because they didn't know each other. They literally didn't know each other. And they were all in there filming this really, tense scene. It registered to me. It was very tense. So I'm gonna have my people call your people and let you know where it ranks for me.
Figure it out.
But I'm not ready to divulge right now.
Man, I mean, we had even the kids came to play. Even the kids weren't playing this episode. That's when we know you on another level.
I was happy with them little girls punching them little boys in the face. I was with that.
I was here for it. They were jumping my man. Amen. My man just got a dragon. He's an a-hole. All of a sudden, he got a dragon. He's all boosted up. He's like, what you want?
I can't wait till you get to that part of the episode so I can light his ass up. I'm gonna get to it. I can't wait.
G, man, just your initial impression of this episode, man. And do you have a ranking? Is it already number one for you?
I don't know. Last week's hit hard. It did.
Yeah.
It hit hard for me. But I mean, I always feel like I got like recency bias when it comes to these
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
Especially like right after, I'm like, man, that might have been the best thing I've seen in I don't know how long. So I mean, I can't really call it at this moment. It's top 3 for sure, though. Top
Yeah.
3 for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It is tough to, and again, I want to rewatch. I think this one has a lot of rewatchability.
Thanks.
So many moments in this episode, and we'll definitely break it down. Johnny, man, same question for you. Just your initial thoughts on this episode after watching it, and do you feel like it's already crowned number 1 for best episode of the season so far?
Yeah, as they say, top of the pops. Oh, shot to number 1 for me.
Yeah.
Political intrigue, death, fighting, families, interfamily squabble. It just went straight to the top for me. And this is how you do a show. It's like you hear, and I talked about this in the chat before we got on here. They talk about shows being a slow burn. Well, this is like a thermonuclear explosion. I mean, this is, this is how you do TV. Disney and Marvel and everybody else, take note. This is how you do TV.
Yeah. This is I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, this is why we talk about Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and all that stuff, streaming wars, but we really know who the king is. Unlike the homie Mac is in the chat, top 3 for her. Unlike Max King, who we question his king's decisions every week. We know HBO is really the king of TV, and when they hit on another level. But starting off with you, L. We opened this show, and I talked about it last week, and I still kind of feel this way. The time jumps are still kind of bothering me, and we look like we got another time jump coming next week, and I'm pretty confident that the showrunner said that next week's time jump is the last one, and who we see next week will be the cast moving forward. Yeah. But we open it up with the funeral of Lena, which again, RIP, gone way too soon, if you ask me. But
yeah.
We're in Driftmark, the very important place for the Valerians. They bury her, and the kids are crying. Obviously, Corliss lost his daughter. Rhaenys lost her daughter. I was in my feelings. I felt that moment. It was beautifully shot too. El, what did you think of this opening funeral sequence here?
It was great, and it was very tense. It was very heavy. Mm-hmm. And definitely agreed. I wish that we could have gotten more of her. And Sir Harwin, like we don't know them, and they done gone on home to glory. So I don't know, anything about
death
them.
by fire.
I would have loved to see that, but that scene was great. But what stood out to me was Damon giggling at. I was like, wait a minute. Are you excited? Did he say something funny? Because he was basically saying ashes to ashes, dust to dust, or sea to sea, or shine and sea, or whatever he said. But it wasn't anything funny.
Yeah. Nah, I gotta shoot my man some bail. I gotta shoot my man some bail.
It wasn't like a little tee hee hee, like a little under your breath kind of thing. It was like a noticeably loud
special. It was shock.
Yeah, I didn't get
it.
It was shock.
This episode solidified for me that everybody in this show at this point is garbage. Like, save for the children, everybody got their little something going on, because everybody is guilty of doing something. But that I don't know, something about him laughing at his wife's funeral just sent it over the top for me. That's my toxic king. I hate that guy, but I love to watch him for sure.
Johnny, I'm trying to obviously I'm gonna rewatch it, but yeah, I can't remember the exact line and when he started laughing. But your thoughts on that, Johnny, and of course your thoughts on this opening sequence.
Oh, I couldn't believe that he laughed, and I was just like, "What is he laughing about?" And then I'm looking at, or I'm saying I'm looking as if I was there. I'm trying to look at everybody else and wondering what are they thinking now that he's chuckling during this part. I think it was about when she's going to be returned to the ocean, and she's going to, I don't know why he was laughing, but
run true, I think is what the line was.
He's laughing about the blood part. Okay, because that's right. It was because of the Valerian blood being pure and everything.
Yeah,
and how the whole family is all pure, and he's like, look at these. Look at these dark-headed children over here. Yeah, we're really pure. Maybe that's why he was chuckling. But Yeah, that bugged me.
Yeah, that was G, man. Your thoughts
I
on Mr. I
I
think
gotta shoot my
Corliss
man
wanted
some
to.
bail. I gotta
Let's
shoot him
hear
some
it.
bail.
Let's hear it.
Not because like I think the laugh was warranted or anything by me. You shouldn't be laughing at no funeral. But people take things differently. I feel
What, they
like it
grieve
was more
differently.
so, yeah, like I feel like it was more so like, man, I can't believe it. Like, cause he was in shock when it happened, you know? So, and I don't know. Since you said that might have changed my mind a little bit, but it was just when I heard the chuckle, I was just like, man, I was like, dang, he died. Like, that's
It's
crazy
a
work right there.
time and it's a place, but not for
Right.
Damon.
And-
He'll laugh at a funeral. He'll have sex in the middle of a funeral. I mean, he'll do it all, man. You can never know what to expect with this guy.
Right. And it was, for me, it was more so like while they were speaking, while the uncle was speaking, it was more so like everybody was looking at each other, like you're getting all the
Oh, a
looks,
lot of eyes. Yeah,
right? A lot of eyes, a
acting
lot
in
of
the eyes
eyes.
in this episode.
Right. So when he laughed, everybody was like it was like, what are you laughing at right now?
Yeah, what's
And
the joke?
right. So I mean, yeah, it could definitely be some lore that he might be feeling towards it at some point. But yeah, if that's the case, that's super sick. But I thought when I first initially watched it, I thought it was more so like a different way of grieving, because he's just like, he don't really say too much, you know. So like when
Yeah.
he do say something, it's like you always got to pay attention. So that was messed up. But
I don't know. I'm
I
gonna have to
don't know.
rewatch. I think there
I'm gonna
was
have
a
to rewatch
line,
it too.
yeah, a line that made
Yeah.
him just, again, whether it was blood being pure or just, I don't know. You never know what to expect with him. But again, at this funeral, I mean, not everyone. I'm talking about everyone was at this funeral. We got dragons, we got the whole cast and crew there, and G just kind of alluded to it, but it was in the eyes for me, of everyone just kind of talking with their eyes, looking with their eyes, feeling uncomfortable. And of course, we'll talk about Rhaenyra and Damon just eyeing each other the whole time. But just kind of, again, just crafting this scene, putting this scene together, it speaks so loudly, again, with very little words, but you feel the tension in the air.
You definitely do. And I noticed when they were at the funeral, everybody was like clustered up. Nobody was together. You know, I usually, well, you know, we have an American funeral, but generally, even if you don't really care for each other, you gonna be in the same general space.
Right.
But they were like one up here, one down here, one on the left, all grouped together, but very much separate. Some standing closer to, you know, and I thought that was very interesting, because even though they're all supposed to come together and they all are family, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, they all are like cousins at the end of the day. They were very much in their own silos. And I feel like this is the first time too, you know, during this time, you don't get a chance to see everybody together. You know what I mean? And you don't see them often. It'd be years before you see somebody else, right? But I just thought, you know, usually when a parent passes away, everybody's really attentive to the children of that person that passed away. They could have put them children on a boat somewhere and just left them, because they were literally, they didn't care anything about those children at all. And it's a wonder, you know, you can't be surprised that they are behaving the way that they are, because children really shouldn't be invested in like my house and my name and my mama and my, you know, at that young age. But they were willing to die for it today. But that's just because that's what they see. You know, they're not being paid attention to, and they see that my daddy is like about to kill this person with their eyes, and my mom doesn't really like that person, and they take all of that in and they exhibit that in another way. So I just really thought that was very interesting, and they were those girls, the little actresses, they did really, really well, because they looked really sad. They really did. But
they felt like us. They're like, damn, we lost that actress, was good. Why y'all kill her off so soon?
I don't know why they did that. And I'm gonna have to call somebody about it, but I'm just playing. But I just think everybody really was in their bag in this scene. Like, look how sad those little children look. Did somebody really die in real life? Like, it look really sad.
Method acting, yeah. I agree. Johnny, a scene that I wanted to talk about The truth is very apparent. You can't hide it. We see, I think it was Jace, one of her sons says to Rhaenyra that, when to Elle's point, go and, talk to your cousins. They're grieving right now. He says, I'm just as sad as they are because I lost my
Facts.
dad.
Right.
I lost Harlan. He's like, Harlan was a strong. You're a Targaryen. And to Elle's point, it's like they don't have these moments to talk and to be truthful with each other. Johnny, man, what did you take away from that scene? And again, this lie, this continuous lie that they're trying to continue to create. And like I said, no, everyone knows the truth.
Everybody knows the truth, and they're just trying to pull this over on these kids, and the kids know the truth too.
Mm-hmm.
And they're hearing it, and they're hearing it from their cousins, and they're hearing it from other people, and they can see with their eyes that they look different from their cousins.
Right.
So I don't know what she's, what the point is that she. Okay,
it's like having Christmas and saying Santa Claus is this, and you see your mom and dad literally putting the Christmas like the presents under the tree. Like, no, Santa is this. Trust me. It's like, what are you talking about? But yeah, go ahead.
It's like you're Targaryen. It's like, yeah, well, I am kind of like half Targaryen, but I'm not really like full Targaryen.
Full Targaryen, yeah.
I'm not full Valerian. With an eye.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Just I don't know what's going to happen. With the kids as far as what their feelings are going to be, but I think once she makes the claim for the throne, that they're going to be thinking that they want to get to the throne too. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like the House of the Kardashians. Gee, man, your thoughts again on this this lie that they're trying to continue to shove down their kids' mouth and them even knowing the truth, and the grieving process of losing the father and that they're going through with the Strongs. What's your thoughts on this scene, man?
Yeah, I mean, kids a lot of times like they just learn by looking, around. Like they ain't really gotta, like nobody really has to say anything. So like when, everybody is, after the fact, everybody just sitting around, everybody just looking, it's like those my cousins, but they not really like, are they really my cousins?
Right,
like I don't really know how to, go over there. It's not like we grew up together, what I'm saying? Like my play cousins more connected to me than them, so it's one of those things where I was like, dang, I really felt that, because it was just like they're strangers, but at the same time it's like, nah, like, I could see you still hurting too. And when she grabbed I forgot the oldest one's hand, I was like, oh, my heart. I was like, because I know that I was like, they feeling it. And it really goes to it really goes to just, how the parents are actually raising them too, because it's like the identity crisis that all these characters are going through this whole time. It's really showing a factor in, how the kids really feel about themselves. Cause like you could see like when Aemon got his dragon, self-confidence went crazy.
Off the roof.
Right?
Yeah.
But just an episode ago, he head down all the time, letting his little cousins pick on him and do anything to him. But it's just like everybody's looking for that thing to like grab onto, and this is one of the moments where it's really shown. I was like, oh man, like nobody here is really family. Like they're not really connected, and it was just one of those things. I was like, dang, I was like, man, this is tragic. Like, this is crazy.
What too? Like, I think a lot of times when I look at it, I think that we're thinking of it in a Western way, like the American
modern
family, maternal, paternal kind of way. Because in this scene, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'll marry my sister. That's cool. I mean, that she gonna be your queen.
These kids are gonna be a problem when they grow up. They're going to be a problem."
So we keep saying, like, "Man, that's your cousin, man. You can't do that." Blah, blah, blah. That's not what they on. They're not on that. That's not the time that they're on. So I think a lot of time, and then when that little girl, Rayla, one of them grabbed that little boy's hands. I took it as like, dang, bro, I know I can't say out loud, but I'm sorry your daddy died. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry that your daddy died and my mama died, and I'm gonna hold your hand because we're going through the same thing. And at least I get to be at my mom's funeral.
Right.
You didn't even get to go to your daddy's funeral. So I'm a just solidarity with you. But it just to me meant that those kids know more than what they think that they know. And adults never think children know anything.
Right.
But the kids will be like, well, Auntie Janie, she went on Thursday and they had a man in there, but it wasn't Papa Dean. Like they have all the teeth.
Yeah.
Well said. And just kind of bringing it back a little bit, Johnny, I'm just curious on your thoughts on this, the Allison's children, Aegon, Amon, and I can't remember the young lady's name. I'm just calling her the bug catcher. She loves bugs and creatures and insects, which I wonder how that's going to play into when she gets older, if that's going to mean anything in importance. But these little Targaryen babies, man, they frighten me, man, especially now with Aegon having, or Aemon having this dragon, man. Your thoughts on these children?
Helena, I think is her name, but
Helena, okay.
Scary. Aegon is starting to drink, and he's starting to assert himself, and he's starting to call the servants wenches, and now Aegon felt that he had something missing in his life, and he's been ridiculed because he doesn't have a dragon.
Right.
So now I couldn't believe that he went to get Vhagar, and that Vhagar took
Honus. Yeah.
And that changes the balance of power greatly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this is like a Cold War now with the dragons. You know, it's like the U.S. and the Soviets. You got this many dragons on one side, we have this many dragons, and these kids are becoming arrogant and mouthy, and they want their birthright because their mother has been instilling this in them ever since they were born. And while it didn't seem to take at first, it's sinking in.
And I like this comment here. She did mention that. I wonder if she does have some, because we talked about it weeks ago as far as this show touching into the supernatural side, like Game of Thrones did. So I wonder if that is something that she does have these abilities to kind of see in the future and predict things. If so, someone needs to talk to her and predict the evidence, see what's going on. And the first question I have for her is, how much longer is King Viserys going to be alive? Like, when how much longer is man?
Every time he yells, I just feel like his teeth just gonna fly out his mouth, or like his arms gonna fall off or something. He just gonna disintegrate.
I was waiting for him to drop this episode, but
me too.
Happen.
And based on the trailer next week, I think he's still with us. I think King Viserys is still with us, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll talk about him. He definitely, shout out to Mac. I know she's in the chat. He got a moment to shine. He finally kind of spoke his king throwing his
felt like
around,
a king.
but he did.
He did, but like all this stuff wouldn't have been where it is right now
if he would already nipped this in the bud.
Acted more decisively in the past, and that's what we've been saying about the king all along. Sorry, Mac.
Mac, we love you. We love you, Mac. We join us if you can, Mac. Join us if you can. Defend your king. But G, I want to start with you on this, man. Laenor is a good man. Very, we just talked about the king. I think the king is a good man. He doesn't make good decisions, but I would say the same thing for Laenor. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Seems to be a good partner. He's not, necessarily the husbands and all the duties that come with that or traditionally go with that, but he's going through it in this episode, G. As we see him in the water, and even Corlys is like, go get your boy. Go get your boy. He's embarrassing us right now. Your thoughts on Laenor throughout this episode, and of course we'll tie that into the end when he's nameless and hairless.
Thanks. Yeah. So I felt bad for him just because like you could tell like he's like an empath. Like he really feels his feelings,
Yep.
And seeing him out in the water, I was like, what are you doing? Out, and I guess that's like the best place for him to go. Yeah. And as far as like his father's reaction to him being out there, I'm like, man, like his sister just died. Like, I get that you want to show strength in a sense, but it's just like, man, like he's not, sitting here drinking and going crazy like that. He's just over here.
He's not laughing like Damon.
Right. So it was one of those things where I was just like, dang, I really felt for him, but at the same time, like I got closure in the sense knowing that, he ain't just been spending all this time, like not even attempting to make things look better
Right.
from what's the word?
Optics.
Optics standpoint. And it's, I wish he was like you could tell he loves his kids, but I wish he was more hands-on, like with like their training, because he's supposed to be a good knight,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Very much so. Yeah.
So I would have liked to see him take on that role, but I guess we ain't got time for that. And he's going to go live out his life as a no-name person, I
No
guess.
name. Yeah. Yeah, out here living his best life, I guess. And we'll talk about Lenore a little bit later, but just kind of generally speaking throughout this episode, did you feel his grief? Did you feel his pain? Him and his sister, they just want to be, near each other, spend time with each other, see each other's kids. I say kids because we know Lenore doesn't have any, but
Right.
this, and we'll talk another thing, I guess, just kind of put a spin on that, L. It was mentioned in this episode that Lenore and Rhaenyra tried to have kids. I didn't.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
news to me. I just assumed their agreement was, hey, you do you, I do me. But they actually
Right.
tried to have kids.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting too, and I wonder, what that was. Maybe it was just timing. I would be interested to know about that, but I mean, we never gonna know about that. But I think I think Lenore is like a tragic thing. It's like a year 100 representation of what is happening now. Like in 2022, people can't be their authentic selves because of obligations to family and obligations to whoever.
Right.
And it ends up, really wreaking havoc on their lives. And I feel like he went in that water because he needed to ground himself. He's that's what he is. He comes from the water. He's not a fire person. Like they were talking about how, me and you, Damon, we from the fire and they from the water and whatever. So, he has been surrounded by fire. If you think about it, for 10 years, that's not his element. That's not his energy. He doesn't deal with that. And so I feel like when he went in the water, one, his sister was in there. And two, he needed to ground himself in what he knows, and he needed to just be sad. But it's the year 100 and whatever the hell it is, and you can't do that, right? Because you gotta, and he's the only now he's the only child, and he's the only son. So being the only child, being the only son, being the and then being a closeted gay man during this time, that's a lot of damn pressure. And he probably felt like he lost his friend, his sister, and because they cut her out, we don't know what their relationship was. We didn't see them together as adults. We didn't see them together at all, really. I would imagine that they were close and that she knows, because she seemed like a really great person too. When she had that conversation with Damon on the bridge, like, listen, it is what it is. I'm trying to do my best and I appreciate it, but I'm trying to go back to my daddy's house. I don't want to be out here in the country. I'm trying to go back to the city. So, I just feel for him, and I'm glad that his story ended up the way that it did, because if it didn't, I was going to be upset at that. Because, but again, you can't be a good person in this time. You just can't be an upstanding citizen and a stand-up guy or gal, because you will meet your untimely demise.
Perish,
going to end up in the fireplace.
Viserys, he's somehow sold.
I don't know. They must have gave that boy. Well, I was about to say something rude. I'm sorry.
I'm drinking that dragon blood. That's what's keeping him alive. Johnny, man, jump in here. Your thoughts on Lenore in this episode before we get to the major reveal of him, but just kind of the trajectory of the character, the pain, the trauma, the decisions. How did you feel about him in this episode, man?
I just feel bad for the guy. It's like this is the way he was born, and he tried his best to try to make the marriage work, and now he lost his sister, and he's getting his dad's toxic masculinity coming after him, and and it's funny when he finally was able to, as we see later, extricate himself from the situation. I'm like, hey, I recognize that actor. After he didn't have the wig on anymore, and he was on his way out. But I just really felt for the character, because this is something we talked about in the chat. I think it was Meg who said it in the chat. We care about these characters, and they've made us. This is good television because they've made us care about these characters.
You know,
Yeah.
John, not to cut you, it's an impressive feat because again, as we've mentioned, the time jumps upon time jumps, the new actors coming in. It's a lot to ask the audience to accept the new actor to come in and to give us, because we didn't really even spend time with his younger self. So I totally agree with you there, Johnny, as far as a testament to these actors to really kind of make us care, even though we've seen 3-4 different versions of them within a span of 7 weeks. So it speaks a lot to the performances. Definitely agree with you. One thing I don't want to miss over, and I want to get your thoughts on this first, G, is Littlefinger, aka Otto Hightower, just all of a sudden, magically, he's his hand in the king again. Now, obviously, this was set up last week, but I mean, we didn't get to see the scene. Did you want to see the moment of, was it Viserys that called him back to the hand of the king? Was it the daughter? I wonder how that conversation went. And is it something you would have liked to see, or are you okay with them just kind of saying, we kind of expected this anyway?
I'm okay with it because it was a, who else you gonna call,
right?
Like, yeah. And the way he even got sent away was already kind of fugazi, just because only thing he did was tell the truth,
right?
Essentially. So, seeing him, touch his little pin, I was like, all right, you got it for now. You know what I'm saying? You got it for now. But for me, seeing Otto back in action, it was more so like, I was like, oh, what he got planned now? Because
he's in his daughter's ear again now.
Right. But it's more of a mutual thing now, which is kind of cool seeing that whole dynamic change, because it's like this is the first time you can see like, oh, you are my daughter.
You are, right.
I was wondering, I was wondering, what happened, So seeing that was pretty cool. But Otto, it's just, he just one track minded with Damon. Like, he just hawking him at every moment. He always just looking over there, looking mad sinister.
He always got that look on his face, guys.
I don't know.
He's always scheming. He's just got that scheming look to him.
Yeah.
And Damon just be over there smiling.
Damon's smiling. He's scheming.
Vibing. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I'm excited to see, what they can really start cooking up now that everybody really done chose sides and things are kind of more on an even playing field as far as like the dragon dispersing, because it's like before we get off Laenor, what happened to his dragon? Did he take his dragon with him?
Something.
Who's gonna take his dragon?
That's a good question. And I like his dragon's name the best. It was like Sea Smoke or something like that.
Yes,
I was like, that name is fire.
Yep. That's a good question, G. Yeah. Who
That's a
does
good
take
question
on his man? I wonder, maybe I would imagine book readers I know obviously probably know this answer, but I would imagine probably Rhaenyra's, one of her children, will take over their dragon. Did both of her sons have dragons? Jason, other boy?
I think they did, because I thought the only one that didn't have one was Aemon.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one of the little girls, Laenor or Lena's daughters, maybe they'll get his dragon since it's keep it in the family. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Somebody on team.
Someone's gonna capture it, right?
Yeah.
I
guess because you can't take it with you. Like, you got to go and be a no-name person. You can't pull up on a dragon.
Hey, dragon, guys. Chill out back.
Don't worry about it. It's just mine. I'm nobody, but I do have a dragon. Don't worry about it.
Right. One of the daughters was needing a dragon, so she was
the
supposed to get.
One, I believe
she was supposed to get Vhagar.
Yeah. So, very good question, and I'm very intrigued to see where that goes. But Johnny, man, just your thoughts too on Littlefinger. I keep calling him Littlefinger because he's he has those isms. But your thoughts on did you want to see Otto get that title back, or you just assume it was okay to have that off-screen discussion?
Well, I just didn't think that there was anybody else with the experience,
with the qualifications.
Okay, we're hiring for a hand of the king. Who else has the experience for hand of the king? So, but he was just out there like a peacock and stroking his hand of the king, his hand of the kingpin, and while he's watching and trying to figure out how he can puppet everything. And I guess we see how he does it with some of the previews to the next episode, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Well, speaking of
his grandson too.
Yeah, he did. He was like, "What are you doing, boy? You need to get your act together." But El, I said it in the watch along. I'm a big fan of Rhaenys and Corlys and their bond and their understanding. But I was kind of getting, when they start talking about her not being on the throne, I'm like, if they say that one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. That is all they talk about. Like, this is kind of frustrating. But in this scene, El, as I bring it up here in a bit, they finally give us more layers. Like, right? She talks about giving the giving things over to her granddaughter, her husband's lust and wanting to be in power. That to me was just the most that we've gotten from them so far. And I'm so glad that they gave them something other than just, well, you should have been on the throne. Well, you should have been on the throne 40. It's like, goodness gracious, y'all. Any more depth to these characters? I really enjoyed that scene. Your thoughts on them in this conversation here?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, I thought that. I mean, I suspected that all along. Like it wasn't about her, because it's like you harping on it. What you gonna make them make her queen? Like what you gonna do
time
about
machine?
it? Yeah. Like, so you keep talking about it and nothing's gonna come of it. But it's just because he can't let go of the fact that he was so close to the throne and he lost it. It's not about her. And she said it like, "Are you just gonna throw us all away at a chance to be even a chance to be on the throne?" And I feel like it's because he thinks that he deserves it. I think he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He has just as much money as everybody else. He has dragons like everybody else. He has boats. He has
the combat knowledge, the sea snake himself.
And he's he can go out and battle. He can do it all. And he feels like he should be having that power and that access, but he doesn't. And I feel like a lot of times when people feel like they're not in the station of life or the part of life that they want to be, depending on their personality, they'll do some crazy wild stuff to get access to that, to where they think they should be. So he dropped a little bit down for me in this scene, because he was top of the top for me. That's my boy there. I love me some Corliss. But this one I was like, nah, son, because your daughter dead. Like she ain't even get down to the bottom of the ocean yet. I mean, you talking about, oh, you should have been the queen, and it just is like, let it go, my baby. Let it go and move on with your life and do something different, and let's get it going. But I think as it relates to Otto, I personally would have been my own hand to the king. I'm not about to. I fired you because you didn't do a good job.
Represent yourself in court.
You're capable. You want me to bring you back because now you're capable? All you did was take a vacation. All the same things are still there. All the same issues will still be there. And I just feel like I don't know, but I did enjoy seeing him kick his grandson when he was drunk on the stage. Like, oh, you know how much stuff I got riding on you?
Right.
I got everything riding on you, and you out here embarrassing me and getting drunk, falling asleep on the steps. That's unacceptable. So, I think it's a lot of, there were so many storylines this episode. It was like 12 storylines. And I was investing in all of them. They were so good.
And they even have it, and tossing it to you, G, they have the conversation about, again, and it's a very cold, there's so many lines that I want on a t-shirt, on a coffee mug. The line where he says it's not about the blood, it's about your names, right? He doesn't care if those boys are technically his blood. It's just that the name carries weight. And he, again, wants the boys on the throne versus the daughters. But just your thoughts on this scene, a little bit more time with them and seeing this dynamic. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time we've seen these two who have always been on the same page disagree with each other.
Yeah. I think it was more so the queen that never was being tired of hearing the same old thing, like I think that was, that in combination of her grieving and blaming the gods and she was, I'm not going to say beside herself just because she was right to be, feeling her own feelings, but it was just not what we are used to as far as their dynamics. So her giving a little bit more pushback, led to him, it's like, get off me. You know what I'm saying? That was a little bit funny. But I think y'all hit it, right on the head with, saying that, it was never really about her. Even, back in, I don't remember, I think it might have been episode 2 or 3 when he was talking to Damon about just like, how he had to get out the mud, everything that he wanted, he took, right? And he's always felt like the second son. And I just know him seeing Viserys just wither away on that throne, it's just got to be irritating, because
sticking up every time he sees it.
Right, he ain't really making no moves. He done lost the stepstones again. Like, there's so many things tying into like his frustrations, and then even with how he was addressing Laenor, like Laenor is frustrated with himself, but just because he can't meet people's expectations of him, and then you got Corliss, who just, he wants to Damon. He wants like somebody like that to be his heir. And even when he brings up to his grandson, like you'll be the one that rules here. Grandson's like, man,
I don't really want that, granddaddy.
I ain't worried about
Yeah.
that. He just lost words. He's like, man, I don't know this new generation. He
don't have it in him. He
Right.
don't have it in him. It's not. He's not of fire. He's not of water. He just be there. He just be hanging out.
And I mean, to be fair too, we talked about Lenore being a good guy, but he even said in this episode he hasn't been the best husband for these kids and raised them to be these princes that they should be at this point, right? So yeah, there's a lot of father. Again, we talk about every week. There's a lot of themes of fathers and the sins of your father, the sins of your family, and try to make amends, to try to be better. But they seem to always kind of go into this repeated cycle of not making the right steps and the right moves to make sure their legacy and their family is secure. So because they're always just focus on the throne, they lose sight of it.
Which kind of makes me feel like going back, I would have loved to see Harwin Strong be a dad. Like, what would that have looked like? How would those children have been different? Because that dude,
I'm so right there with you.
Everything I saw and heard, he was a beast. And he was like a stand-up guy, right? So how would that have gone if he would have trained his sons to be knights? If he would have taught them about what it's like to be a man and be honorable and chivalrous and all of that jazz. But now they got Lenore, he be in the club. So he not there. Nobody's like
or in the water.
That's why he had to go. That's why Harlan had to go, because
this isn't the life for him.
Yeah. It would have been too easy.
Yeah.
Well said.
And that's the only way I feel like they could have took him out, because you're not gonna take him in hand-to-hand combat. Like, you won't.
Right. Which I was gonna, and I'm so glad they pulled that wool over my eyes. So I'm like, yeah, this man's supposed to was trained and all this, and but I'm so glad they pulled that off. I'm just
Mother Nature.
Definitely. And before we move on, quick shout out to Voices here with the no comment, just showing some love, man, which I appreciate that. Voices always showing some love with the $25 super chat. Appreciate you. And again, appreciate my panel of guests here. Appreciate you all watching. Thumbs up, share, comment, all that good stuff. Let's have some good, continue to have these good discussions. But again, shout out to you, Voices, with the super chat there. But tossing into you, G, we talked about the discussion between the once power couple, but obviously losing their daughter kind of puts a rift in their relationship. But one relationship that seems to just continuously, G, to just prosper, even with 10 years of not seeing each other. And the last time they saw each other, it was a pretty weird situation. I think you know where I'm going with this, my friend. Rhaenyra and Damon.
On the beach.
Would she say to him, G, I'm no longer a child. I want you, Damon.
Ain't no
I
baby
said
no
it
more.
earlier, this is definitely different times, obviously
it's
we don't
crazy
condone incest, but they're destined to be together, I guess. G, your thoughts on these two and them officially sharing an intimate scene?
It was it was bound to happen. I didn't think it was gonna happen right
the
then.
day of the wife's funeral. Sister-in-law died.
Right.
That was a little like, okay, y'all wilding right now.
Right.
But just
in
like
the open too, like
I was like, ain't nobody about to go on this boat right here, like
right.
So I mean, that was just something that was bound to happen. I mean, as far as like the build up to that, I think like having to be episode 7, I feel like that's like a sweet spot as far as like the pacing goes for their relationship, because they like Rhaenyra, somebody's always saying, Rhaenyra, stop Rhaenyra, before, and then they just go for it after that. So I love the way that this was shot too, because this is like at night, and it was just like the sun was setting and stuff like that. And I mean, it was pretty cut and dry. It was like everybody was saying this was gonna happen. So I mean, it was just like time and a place, but I guess you gotta get in when you can fit in. So
I guess so. In this world, you never know, right? You could be taken out by a dragon or taken out by leprosy. So I guess you just gotta, live YOLO. You only live once. El, to put a spin on this question, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Obviously, your thoughts on the scene, but more importantly, the chemistry, right? This is the first time that adult Rhaenyra and well, he's always been an adult, but this version of Daemon, father now, lost his wife. This is the first time on screen together. I didn't feel the gravitas and the chemistry as much as it not sexually. I'm not talking about the Rhaenyra and all this, but I'm just saying this chemistry on screen between these two. It was a little off to me. Of course, they got more scenes with each other a little bit later on, of course, for the rest of the season. But how did you feel about the scene, Elle? But more importantly, do you feel like the chemistry was there between these two with them sharing their first screen time together?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like with baby Rhaenyra, I felt that.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's because there was more dialogue between the two. Damon probably said 20 words this entire episode. Like,
True.
Like he didn't really
just
say
looking
anything.
and eating his
But
popcorn.
prior to, they had lots of dialogue and over Valerian, and they were going back and forth, and they were, it was a build up to it. And they just had better chemistry. This set of Damon and Rhaenyra didn't have that, because there are certain, I'm not a creep. No, I'm just being real. There are certain sex scenes that you'll be like, damn, that was, I'm gonna have to see if y'all were actually like what I was actually watching, because that was hot, right? And then there are other ones where it's like, oh, okay, y'all did the grown-ups, that's fine.
Yeah, right.
And this was the latter, right? Y'all just was doing what grown-ups do. It just was gross because y'all literally like
cousins and your relatives.
And then it was weird because she was like, when it was all said and done in the morning after, she was like, I need you, uncle. Don't call him uncle.
Don't call,
that's so weird.
Don't call him uncle, ma'am.
Oh my goodness.
Because y'all had just did it in a hut. Like, relax. Like, don't let's set up some boundaries between y'all two. Don't call names. Don't do none of the extra stuff. Just keep it, out the family. But that freaked me out. But I'm hoping though, because again, I think this was very, very early in the shooting of the show. That
I was gonna say, you brought that up early. That was like their first time, probably.
Yeah, it was set, this was the first couple days of shooting, and they didn't know each other. I don't know if they had any time before, but it's hopefully it'll get better. I do know that the actress of the I don't know what their pronouns are, what her pronouns are, but she's or they are masculine presenting. And they are LGBTQI plus. So I don't know if, maybe this was her first role in a feminine presenting space, and I'm not
interesting.
I'm not saying
I get you saying.
I'm just wondering if that may have played a part, because I don't know that actress.
Right.
I've not seen her in anything.
Right.
So I don't know how far along in her career she is. But hopefully it'll get spicy, because Game of Thrones has some good spicy time scenes. So
yeah, some of the best, some of the most cringeworthy ones, and some of the good ones too. It's interesting you bring that up, Elle. It was an article I saw the other day, and I didn't finish it, but it was something on the line along those lines when Emma brought up where do they get this kind of, I guess, more feminine side from, because they identify kind of non-binary. So I wondered if that plays a factor into it. I don't know if we'll ever get the answer to that, but that's a good insight there. Johnny, your thoughts on the chemistry, the scene, calling her uncle. Your thoughts on it, man?
I kind of agree with the Voices was saying in the chat that it was transactional. I agree that this was transactional. This had to happen. Unlike what happened with Rhea, his other wife, where that wasn't consummated. This had to happen so that we could get the next part of the story.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just kind of felt that way. And I didn't feel that it was passionate or anything that it was hot or anything like that.
Yep.
It just felt. And it's funny.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that scene for research purposes.
Somebody was saying that that they like the chemistry with the other character better. I was like, but she was a little girl. I mean,
yes.
I mean, that's, to me, liking that chemistry a little better. It sounds a little creepy to me, but I guess I could see that. But I didn't know that about when it was filmed. So maybe I don't know if we're going to get other scenes. I doubt that we're not going to be having like a scene, sex scene with Rhaenyra and Damon again, probably, but
probably, I would imagine so.
I don't see why we would have to have that.
Yeah.
But I agree that it was kind of transactional, and it was just kind of something that had to happen to
Mhm.
get the story, to move the story forward.
I agree. G, your thoughts on it, man? I do think, not that we're critiquing the sex scenes, unless we
Yes, I am.
want to. I don't
Yes,
say
I
you're
am.
going to rate it. I'll give it a on a hot and steamy scale, guys. I will give it
Hold up your card.
a 4. I'll give it a 4. I'll be honest with you, because I totally agree with L. I didn't feel the taking it back to that 10 year when they met in the the brothel and all that stuff. You would have thought that all that tension, that sexual tension, would have been built up, and it would have been shirts throwing they would have been tossing fire out of each other's mouths, right? Because they just been waiting for this moment. But I didn't feel that, G. So I'm giving it a 4 on the sexual tension in that scene.
I think it just comes down to the characters, because I feel like older Rhaenyra is not as she's a lot more dialed back as far as personality wise, whereas younger Rhaenyra is more adventurous and wants to talk back more, and then Daemon is kind of like a mute, and he doesn't really isn't really super passionate about anything really,
versus when he wanted
versus
to kill himself in episode 3, going against the Crab King.
Right, versus lover boy Cole, who was just infatuated.
Drake,
right. So I think it comes down to that. I think with time it'll probably once we get to see them in more scenes together, like Johnny said, this just felt like this was just the plot point that was supposed to happen, and that's what we got. So I don't really look too much into it. The uncle part was definitely weird, and it was I was just like, all right, this is happening. The wedding felt more like, okay, they really like each other. More so than that part. But everybody else was just like, oh dang, we're here.
Right. Right.
But I don't know, that's a little bit ahead, but yeah.
And maybe too that maybe they just, when you're a teenager, you just, you know what I'm saying? You just exude, you just got energy, and you haven't really experienced life. Life ain't slapping in your face at all. You haven't lost anything, generally, hopefully. But I don't know how old they are now, because I never really knew how old people were anyway. So
I would say Rhaenyra is probably early mid-20s, and Daemon's probably in his late 30s, early 40s.
Right. So when you, especially when you're in your mid to late 30s, that's when I'm at. I'm tired. Don't come over here looking at me. I'm not about to say a bunch of stuff. I'm not about to go a bunch of places. I'm not about to be jumping up and down. Everybody shut up, right? So maybe that's what it is too. They're just mature, and I don't know how old people live during this age, during this time either. I would imagine they go and meet their maker sooner than later. Which is why I don't understand how Viserys is still here. I just don't understand how he is making it.
He had a date night with the Red Witch. He made a deal with the devil. Yeah. Well, listen, y'all. Quick, we I forgot to bring it up earlier, but yes, this was Viserys did call Alicent his old wife. Which, quickly before we bring in our other special guests, starting with you, L.
Dang, I missed that.
The sickness. A mixture of both. What's your thoughts on Viserys calling Alicent his dead wife's name?
I think that his brain is oozing out of his ears.
This comment here got me dead. He's about to join.
He is on the way out. Yeah. Christine, you've been on it in the chat. You've been lighting it up in the chat.
Yes.
I think he cannot overexert himself. Viserys can walk 2 steps and he just about to pass smooth out. So, all of that turmoil, he got to holler. People not listening. His children fighting, his grandchildren fighting, his wife up in there. It's hot, or maybe it's cold. I don't know, but it was too much.
His brother's now his son-in-law.
Right, and it's you got people from out of town. Y'all got family business all in the hall, and it's just a lot going on. And I think he's just on his way out, and he just is old. When he was like, I know my wife. His name Emma. You my wife, Alicent.
Yeah,
but you're not my wife.
Yeah, my wife.
Right.
Yeah. Who he killed.
I chose you, but if we really could rewind back time,
Yeah, he took it out. He made a decision.
Johnny, any thoughts on this, man? Is it a mixture of him getting old, sick, dementia, a little bit of everything?
Yeah, he's getting
On purpose,
dementia.
maybe.
Everything's going now.
Yeah.
The body went, and now the mind is going.
Yep.
I couldn't believe that when he said Emma. I was like, wow, okay.
Yep.
And nobody really said anything about it. They just kind of looked at him
Kinda
like,
let it, yeah.
okay.
You would imagine maybe he's done that before.
Yes.
Maybe the way that they.
Maybe
that
he has,
it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the mind's starting to go now. So, they're going to pull the king is not able to rule anymore, and
Yeah.
here you go, king. Have a biscuit and sit here by the
Have a
fire while
biscuit.
we,
Have some wine.
while we take over the throne.
Right.
Right.
And he could
That
be
was a
like
great
quietly still alive there, and they're just saying that he's not able to rule.
Yeah, man. Well said. Well said. Well, listen, guys, we got another one of our special guests joining us in the back room. I think he's in the sun right now with his backdrop, looking very colorful. And excited to hear his thoughts on tonight's episode. I'm talking about the one and only Skylar, the writer. What's going on, man?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey, Skylar.
Good.
Hey.
Loving the backdrop. Like I said,
Thank you.
maybe it's fire. Is it fire, Skylar?
No.
It's
It's sun. It's happiness.
Okay.
Even though I'm still figuring out how to work the green screen and all that, so y'all forgive me.
doing great, man. You're
But-
doing great.
So I just finished the episode,
Oh,
and I know y'all probably talked about it. And when I had finished it, I was about ready to like throw the laptop. I was about ready to fight somebody. Like I was just like, what is this mess? And then it ended on that happy note. And that's why I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta change this. I don't care if the green screen don't look weird. This is good news. My heart was full in that moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Rhaenyra, why you got? I'm sitting there rooting for you. I was that Tyra Banks
Black.
thing.
all
Like,
rooting
for you.
we were all
Right.
rooting for you.
Right.
And you gonna pull this? You gonna pull this mess and kill
Oh,
the
me?
only person that's had your back? And
After
then when
he said all
pulled
that
off-
too.
After he said all that, I was like, a good man can't live in Westeros. And then he pulled off that shaved head, and I was like, Famalam. Y'all see, if y'all see, he's on Famalam. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, it was
They pulled the Tupac on us, man.
right, because that mofo was in Cabo right
Yeah,
now.
yes.
But-
Tupac.
Yes, I just because I was like, if I can't root for Rhaenyra, who can I root
Who
for?
can I root for?
If
Right?
you
Right.
can't go to Bella Noche's, where the hell can you go? That's
There
how
you
I
go.
felt.
There you go.
Like,
Yeah,
but
man.
she
Well,
said-
Skylar, before we get more of your thoughts, man, I always want to introduce my guests, either people for the first time or reintroducing yourself for people that seen you before, man. But the stage is yours. Why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
Who, me?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
Yes, you, Skylar. the writer.
I'm Skylar Writer. Skylar, you can catch me on all my socials at Skylar_writer. Skylar with an A. I am a writer here in Los Angeles with a day job, but I am a writer at heart. And one day, hopefully, you guys will be reviewing something that I had a part of. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Curious, super random. The
claim it.
Malcolm. What's the Malcolm on the shirt? Is it Malcolm in the middle or Malcolm?
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X. Okay.
You
Okay.
can't
Can't
see
see. You
the screen.
disappeared on us. Okay. I can see
There
it
you
now.
got it.
I
All
love
right.
it.
Sorry.
Fire shirt, man. Well, Skylar, since we got you in here, man, you let us know your thoughts on how you initially felt in the episode, but kind of catching up to where we are and to go around the table. Starting with you, Skylar, we get Amon, who has some cojones, man. He was picked fun of last week with the pig.
Mhm.
My man goes up to Vagar, and he's a little timid, a little nervous, a little scared, rightfully so. I mean, this dragon's the size of a football stadium. And he eventually mounts that dragon, Skylar, and rides the dragon, Skylar, and now the dragon is his. Your thoughts on Aemon taking on Vagar and him getting his confidence level on 1,000 after that?
I just kind of feel like my only regret with all of that is that they didn't take the other eye. That little bastard. I was on his side the last.
I
episode,
can't be
right?
mad at Aemon. He gave me one of the best lines of this show, man. We're gonna talk about that here in a second. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know exactly which line you're talking about. And it was a cold. It's a cold
Yeah.
line. It's
Fire.
cold.
It was.
It's a good line. It's a good line. But I'm like, dude, at the funeral, at the homegoing, have y'all even had the repast yet? Like, I don't understand. Like, this was their mother's dragon. And I get that you're insecure, and I get that, you know, your cousins make fun of you and yada, yada, yada. But to be that callous and to be that cold blood, I thought he was the
Right
nice
after.
one.
Me too.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
after. The body,
Right
the
after.
body is at the bottom of the ocean and it's still not cold. Like, I don't understand. And so I went from feeling sorry for him. I think what he did was gangster. If it wasn't his cousin or his, you know, his aunt's, you know, dragon.
Yeah.
Then I would have been like, this is badass. And he was
Right.
brave to do it. But just to do that to your own family, like, does loyalty mean nothing? And I don't know if y'all might have talked about it already, but you don't see how like everybody feels weird around the other families. And it was all on their, like, nobody talks to each other. So yeah, but it was badass, but that's just not how you do family.
Johnny, my man, was this a cold-blooded move, one for the ages, or did you feel like it was something that Aegon or Aemon didn't see coming, man? What you think about this scene of him mounting Vhagar and ultimately?
I think it just shows the schism between kind of like what Skylar was just saying, the schism between the families. It reminds me of family outings with my Greek side of the family and the other part of the family that my brother married into, which was like, it was the Greeks and the Americans in different rooms. This opportunity that he took is just is, like I said before, is just changing the whole balance of power, and everything that happened as a result of it, with the fight and with him losing the eye and with everything else, and with the dagger, and it was just amazing what happened. But they were teasing him for so long, and he doesn't have a dragon, and the kid, I felt bad for the kid in that way.
Yeah.
But then when he comes back and what he says, and then I stopped feeling bad for him after that.
Listen, I'm gonna before I toss it to you, El, I'm just gonna call it right now. This scene was fire. I know who said it was felt like Disney. It was a little too long in the tooth for them. To me, it was perfect. The score was awesome. The cinematography was fantastic. Like I said, the cojones on this kid to mount that dragon, to make that move, to me was pretty. Again, I don't condone these next sequences here, but I gotta admit, Aemon, he came through on that. El, am I wrong in thinking that was a pretty fire scene?
Nah, that scene was cool. It was really, really awesome. And I remember watching it, and at first I was like, oh, he saw Rhaenyra and Daemon doing it on the beach.
Yes, that's where my mind was at. I'm like, oh, this little
and I was like, oh, that's gonna be so good. But I was pleasantly surprised to see this part.
He had his eyes on something else.
He walked up on the dragon.
Yeah.
And the little boy was the size of the dragon's tooth in his mouth. And I remember thinking I would bury myself in the sand like a ostrich head, and I would never do that. But it shows you how desperate he was to belong and to be accepted and to get out of that space that he was in, being bullied and being, whatever. Now, with that being said, that whole scene made me upset. I was so annoyed. I got mad at the dragon. I was like, dragon, how dare you? Like, dragon,
cheating on your mama.
Your rider just died. And you know her children, dragon. Like, she has 2 girls. Like, you're not even gonna, you know what I'm saying? You should have smoked them. But now I feel like this boy who, I don't like him anymore. I had high hopes for this guy. I really did. It looked like he was like level-headed and, kind of even killed. And the brother was the little loopy one. It looked like he was gonna be okay. But now he got the biggest dragon in the world. That freaking dragon was huge. And it looked like a mountain. I didn't really know what it was at first. But it was anyway. But, I just feel like he has been feeling those things on the inside, but had nothing to back it up. I ain't got no dragon. My brother's trash. My cousins got dragons. I got nothing to stand on. But now he has the biggest one in the world, and he just gonna be insufferable from here on out. It's gonna be great to watch, but I'm gonna be thoroughly annoyed with him, and I'm not gonna like him going forward. Probably
He's
And
gonna
I
be a
don't
problem.
half
when
up,
he gets
half down
older.
hair. I don't know. Something about him is just I don't like him at all anymore.
Yeah.
Those two boys.
When
Troublemakers.
the
How
Targaryen
you
is
make a
born, the
million?
guys flip a coin, right?
Mhm.
And so, it look like it's gonna fall on the loopy side for him because he gonna be a little
Yeah.
crazy, I believe.
Gee, man, your thoughts on this? And even Damon knew it was up. I mean, even the look, we said how Damon said very few words, but a lot was said in this look where he's like, "Damn, that's a good move, kid. That's a smart move, kid." He wasn't even he couldn't even be mad at him. That was a smart move by the little man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what you gonna do?
Right.
You got that
The
John now.
dragon's already chose. Yeah, you can't punish the dragon.
Right. I mean, like if they was really, really trying to make sure one of the kids had the dragon, they would have did it already. But
Exactly.
I mean, no,
It was
I
at a
don't
funeral.
think,
They were in a funeral. They're probably the last thing on their mind.
right in the dragon pit. I don't think they got a dragon pit there, so I don't know where she would learn how to, do everything. But this scene was really cool to me just because like it was more so like not so much the riding part, because that I was like it didn't get old, but I was just like, okay, I want to see what happened when he landed. That's what I want to know now. Like I know he knew how to fly now, but like that whole leading part up to like where he's like staying low, like you like heard all like the the dragon snoring and all that stuff. I was like, oh, I could never do that.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like what it did for his confidence and like what he did after the fact, I was like, man, I was locked into that whole scene. His hands was co-ed, and I was just like, dang, that's like real they real cousins now because they fighting. But it did go a little bit too far, obviously. And he lost he lost an eye for it, but in his eyes, it's like it was worth it at the end of the day.
It's certainly worth it. I mean, that brings us, Johnny, I want to get your thoughts on it. We'll go around the table. This was one of my favorite scenes of this episode because we talked about last week. The kids didn't really get much to do. But at the same time, some actors are able to elevate what they're given. They can put more into the pages than what they're given. But this scene here, Johnny, I mean, he came off that dragon, take his gloves off, and he's a brand new guy, right? He's cocky as I don't know what.
Arrogant AF, as they say.
Man,
arrogant.
Johnny, take it away, man. Look at him punching girls,
arrogant.
hitting kids, rocks.
I was like, oh man, I was like,
slapping the girls. I mean,
punching the girls. Punching them.
I mean, punching the girls, and then and it points out exactly how these families are just they're not a family. That's why they were all not standing together at the funeral. This exemplifies the whole thing right here, and then I was glad that he got he got his eye poked out and he got taken down a notch, because for him to say that to those girls right after their mother died was reprehensible. He's a kid. Kids say stupid things, but.
I'm finding that scene right now, man. Skylar, man, jump in here, man. Your thoughts on this scene, Amen, the jumping of the cousin. I love that moment, by the way, that they didn't have to say anything. They just knew we got to beat his ass.
We
fight back. That's what meme that was in my head the whole time.
They knew they had to scrap. My only question is, none of them got hands. None of them. That one little soon-to-be missing eye boy, Amen. I keep calling him Almond in my head. Amen. Was able to take all of them. Like none of y'all can fight. None of y'all. Was it like 4-on-1? I think.
Why you said they couldn't fight? Them children was scrapping.
They
were scrapping, but he was holding his own against the 4.
Yeah,
like that's what
when he pushed them off. When he pushed them off, I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "All right."
Yeah, I
don't know about that part.
Yeah, I'm like, he ain't no John Wick. Like, come on. Like,
we know that Rhaenyra's kids got the deficient training.
Right.
We learned that last
time. Cole was very light-handed on the training with them. Look at him choking him like Michael Myers right now.
Nah, we did.
My man, look, listen, man. I might be. Eamon was on one tonight, y'all.
Nah.
He
Yeah,
might
he
be
was.
the MVP for me
God.
tonight.
My
Forgot that
question though
happened.
is why would they wake up their cousin if they thought someone was stealing the dragon, but they didn't
Great
know who it
question,
was?
Skylar.
Why
I
not get
think
the
Daddy was
adults?
out.
the adults involved.
Because
Daddy
we
was
needed
out
a fight
canoodling.
scene
We
with
need the
kids.
kids to
That's
fight.
why.
Yeah, that's
We
right,
needed. That's
exactly.
all we needed.
Exactly.
That's the only reason.
Well, to be fair, too, their mom and dad are nowhere to be found. Their mom's out in the
Right.
middle of the beach having sex with their
Oh,
uncle,
yeah.
and then
Which is-
Lenore is
oh.
out in the water taking a swim, and I don't know who knows where the Kingsguard are at that point. So I guess they
Yeah.
just couldn't find adults.
She slept with her.
They had a
uncle.
moment too at the funeral, so you know
Yeah.
they felt like they could trust them too.
Good
Oh,
point. Good
yeah,
point.
with the holding
The
of the hand.
bond.
You
Yep.
know, that is one thing I will. One thing I really do give them credit for. They know that they have to fast forward so often,
Yeah.
but they do
yeah.
a great job of letting you. Because I forgot about that. Great job of letting
Planting
you know.
little
in those
seed like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that will say so much. Because I had forgotten all about that till just now. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now I get it because yeah.
Listen, the scene was fantastic. The tension was there. Those kids brought their A game. When the sword was drawn, I'm like, one of these kids is about to die.
Yeah.
And one of them lost their eye. And from there, tossing to you first, L, the throne room or wherever the room is in Driftmark, that Corliss was like, in my house? And just L, take it away. I mean, what was it that stood out to you from that whole scene? I'm talking about the knife being pulled, eye for an eye. King Viserys like, honey, calm the F down. We are not
Right.
like, just take it away, El. What stood out to you most in this scene of the families coming together?
So I thought what stood out to me the most was Rhaenyra and Alicent. That scene with them two, when Alicent came unglued and just completely just embarrassed herself and embarrassed her husband and embarrassed her children. And I really wanted that little boy to snitch on her when Viserys was like, who told you that this was, he was a bastard. And he looked at his mama with his one good eye. Okay. And if he had two, they probably would have clocked it that he was looking at her, but they probably was like, he don't know what he's doing with this one eye he got left. I can't believe that. But I thought it was it was a really short scene, but it was very impactful because Rhaenyra was like, Alicent finally said what we've all known about why she's been acting the way that she's acting and why she just cannot mind her business. Why, Lord? Yeah. So, when Rhaenyra said it out loud, Alicent was like, damn, I kind of did embarrass myself. But that also helped Rhaenyra to, I feel like, lean into all the stuff that they've been saying. Like, yeah, and what? My children aren't this man's children. Now, what you gonna do? I'm still gonna be on the throne. What are you gonna do about it? I married my uncle. He got a dragon. We got a dragon. That was shady. But, I just thought that scene was really, really impactful and really, really cool to see. And then I don't understand why there's no punishment for physically harming the princess. Because I wanted Viserys to throw Alicent in the jailhouse, but he didn't, But I thought that scene was great. And it was all very, it wasn't a very long scene, but that thing was very tense the entire time. I was like, "Ooh, Lord!" I was expecting somebody to die. I was really hoping it was gonna be Christian Cole.
Creeping.
I don't know why?
Hey, Damon and him had a little bit of I thought it was gonna be a rematch for a second.
I thought he was about to be out of there because I don't like him either. But that's also when I started to think about how they really in this Game of Thrones now. Like we really we are really seeing what people do in these power positions. Yeah. This girl was willing to harm a child, to maim a child on purpose. An
eye for an eye.
On purpose. Like this was something between children. Like children do things all the time. Somebody's arm get broke and somebody's, window gets bust or whatever. But that's outside of adult supervision. But now you wanting a grown man to maim a child because your stupid child got, injured on accident. And it just shows you how desperate Rhaenyra is. And it's not our fault that you got to lay next to the crypt keeper. Nobody, that's not our fault. Like, let's move on. You know what I mean?
Man.
Chucky came right on time for October.
Yeah,
Right?
Uh,
Somebody needs to be Viserys for Halloween. That would be a great costume.
it's a great costume, actually. Yeah. Just just be a skeleton, dress up as a skeleton. G, your
Right.
thoughts on this scene, man? What stood out to you? I'm gonna talk about my favorite moment, but I want to know yours, man.
This is my favorite scene in the whole show. Just
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
more so like it was everybody like else. Like because we focused on the main characters in the scene, but there was a lot of people in that room. Like everybody was there, you know, and it was just like when Viserys was asking Aemon who did it, and Aemon was looking around, everybody was looking like to see, like, you ain't looking at me, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
right. But I think when, you know, everybody got quiet after Alicent was like screaming and like going crazy, and she really realized like, oh, I done showed my hand.
Yeah.
I done showed my
Yeah,
whole
where I
hand.
was for a second.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, even Rhaenyra like trying to like, you know, diffuse the situation, but also use like her influence in saying like, yo, like this is you see this, like, you know what I'm saying, like you see what she just did, she's ready to do this, and you know, she not necessarily she forget her place, but it's just like, yo, this we supposed to be family, you know, and all this other stuff. And I think it came down to like Viserys being the actual king and like demanding like, yo, like this is y'all know who I am, bro. Like stop playing with me. I didn't say what I said, you know. So I was just that this whole scene just had me like, man, I gotta watch this again because this junk went crazy.
This is the Emmy, which I imagine the show is going to get a ton of Emmy nominations. This is that scene, right? This is the Emmy scene. Whether it's Patty getting nominated or Olivia or Emma or whoever, this is the scene they're going to play. Johnny, man, your thoughts on this scene, on the tension, the elements of surprise, the kids, and I'm going to get to my scene here in a second, Johnny. I don't want to set it yet, but take it away, Johnny.
I would say you could cut the tension with a knife, but that would be like a really
see what you
bad
do
pun.
there, Johnny. I like
You
it.
know,
I like
really,
it,
really bad pun.
I like it.
But all having all the players together and having them all looking at each other and having everybody wonder what's going to happen next and who's going to strike next and is somebody going to die? It was so it was so beautiful to have that feeling of, you know, watching that and just wondering what's going to happen next. Is she gonna kill somebody? And then when she grabbed that dagger, I'm like, oh, there it is.
And that is the dagger. That is the cat's paw, right?
That's the dagger.
With
That's
the Aegon's.
That's the one that killed the
Night King.
The Night King. You know, not that I have to worry about spoilers for that now, right?
Right.
I hope. If
somebody
any of you
might
haven't,
that was the knife.
Yeah, that's cat's paw. Yeah.
If you haven't seen the original Game of Thrones, I apologize, but you'll get to that eventually. And if you haven't, don't listen to what people say. Don't listen to what people say about these seasons. Watch it on your own and draw your own conclusions. But anyway, it was so it felt so rich and so wonderful to be able to watch all that tension and kind of like be literally sitting on the edge of my seat, wondering what's going to happen next.
Same here, Johnny. Well said, Skylar. Man, throw it in there, man. What stood out? What was fantastic? Maybe what didn't work for you in the scene? Later on.
It was. I mean, what everybody said. It was a lot. It was such high tension. That was a beautiful shot. That was. Woo, you could feel it. You could feel the tension.
They need to something for this episode.
Yeah.
Miguel is that dude. He directs some of the best episodes of the series.
Oh yeah, he did his thing. One of the things that one of the lines that I really liked was when Rhaenyra was like, I can't remember the exact line, but she should have, but she should have gotten folded.
Right.
But
Rhaenyra was playing,
right. But when Rhaenyra said, like, now everybody sees who you really are, because like, you know what I mean, and like, and I know that they want to like draw a lot of comparisons to like the current situation and Trump and conservatism versus all that stuff. But this was like I think a good example of it, because it really was like laying it all out to bear You know what I mean? That like she just all of the pretense, all of the faux religiosity, all of the I'm better than you BS. Like Allison just let it out and she was like, see, boom, you did it to yourself, boo. Like you showed us who you are. And the thing that is so sad, or one of the things that's so sad to me, is that like you see Allison, she's having a breakdown, is what this is, right? Honestly, like clearly it's a mental breakdown. She lost it.
Like, what else do you need to know that your daughter is not, the kids aren't to her? Yeah.
But that's not even, I think, what the root of her issue. Right. The root of her issue is what she said. I followed the rules. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. And it's still not enough while she gets to be free. Right. And it's like the resentment she's been forced to lay with this old man with like leprosy or whatever he got going on. And her father, who was the main one that was like driving all of this. And she's like, she has quote unquote everything. But she's like I did everything right, and my kid still loses an eye. Like, and that's, I think that if she went and sought therapy, that will be the crux of her issue. It ain't got nothing to do with Rainier. Her issue is her position in life and the fact that she's done all these things and the gods have abandoned her or whatever. But like, I'm also mad at the king because, dude, you the king. Your queen just tried to kill not just your daughter, not just the princess, the heir to the throne. If you don't lock her up in the Red Key, get that
Christian Cole, put them together.
Christian Cole, because Christian Cole, he's still mad because the same thing, he don't bought into this faux morality, that's what he's still hurt about. He ain't so mad about Rainier. He's mad because he's playing by the rules and the rules ain't working for him. Throw them both in the Red Keep, punish the fact that he said they're yelling, don't nobody care that the queen, he said it's over, walked away, and the queen said, no, bro,
nope, bring it back,
challenge you in front of everybody. Like, like,
that's crazy.
Love it.
That's a good, but like that I was just frustrated because I'm like, king, you're not kinging like you need to be kinging. Allison, get you some therapy, girl. Rainier, you's a boss. You held her off with one arm. Somebody said in there she held him one arm and had a conversation at the same time. Like Rainier did what needed to be done in that scene. She let her enemy trip themselves up without dirtying her hand.
And you know what I think too? I think another part of Allison's issue is that she didn't choose it. She was sent to this position. She was made to go to this position. And Allison really doesn't have any original thought, or she doesn't have that, let's play the game kind of thing. She got Clubfoot in this ear. She got Christian Cole in this ear. She got all these men telling her what to do. She doesn't, her dad was like, hey, why don't you just go check on Viserys? Just wear your mama dress, put a little necklace on, and the next thing you know, she queen and got multiple children, and the man got leprosy, he about to die, and she don't know what to do. She just tripping. So she didn't make any choices for herself. And she's so upset at seeing somebody who is her peer. They were peers. They were friends. They were best friends, right? And she loved books and she wanted to read and she wanted to, and now she's in this old ugly cycle of whatever the hell they got going on in King's Landing, and she didn't have a choice in it. But she feels like Rhaenyra gets to have her choice, right? Like you were saying, she gets
the cake and eat it too.
Be the heir to the throne. She gets to have this man over here. She gets to have these children. She
with anybody
to, do whatever, and she has to be queen, and she's lonely. All she got is the Clubfoot and the crazy daddy. So she loses at this point.
And she don't understand. It's sad because we see it from the audience perspective, but she doesn't really understand when her father even comes into that room. This is once again that a man coming in there dictating your choices to you. Talk about, now you know how to play the game, and now I didn't know you had it. I'm like, Allison, this is your moment of clarity where you should be like, wait a minute,
clear this up.
Right?
You came up in here, and this what you the problem.
Right,
but she didn't do that. She bought into it, and it's like, oh, girl, you had a piece of a choice right here. You had a piece of a choice, and you didn't take it.
What's the other option though?
What's your other option? What's the question?
What's her other option at this point? Like she ain't got no other choice.
what she could.
Oh, then it fall
It's
back.
it's easy.
That-
Okay, it's easy for me to say this as an audience member, right? It's easy for me to say this as an audience member. But the choice she could have had right then was like what you just said. I'm gonna fall back for a minute. I'm gonna stop, pause, and I'm gonna think, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow.
Yeah,
because clearly this has gone too far.
Yeah,
I might be locked up by my husband. I challenged my husband in front of everybody. I committed treason in front of everybody. I tried to kill the heir to the throne. Something went wrong. And whatever this game is, I'm gonna take a nap. That's what she should have done.
Because I was waiting for her to have a comeback on him. Like I was waiting for her like to say, like, what you gonna do? Look at you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you gonna barely walk over here. What you gonna
let's
do?
box with your one arm. Like
right.
You said something not too long ago in regards to a choice that Allison never had. The one choice she did have was accepting the lie from her, or she didn't know she was a lie at the time, as Rhaenyra. She thought that Rhaenyra was telling her the truth. And I don't know if you guys saw this little article that came out a few days ago. I'm going to put it up on a screen here now. This is from the showrunner Miguel, who directed this episode, and is the showrunner of the show. A little bit of backstory as far as this Alicent Rhaenyra beef does stem from. We talked about it weeks ago. Is there some type of romance between these two? And from the showrunner himself, there was a first crush type of a feeling. Yeah. So there is that animosity, that kind of understanding or lack of. And then one more thing that I had, I think it's right here, from the actress, the youngish actress that played Alicent. She came out and said that she still has that bitterness from Rhaenyra because she lied upon the memory of her mom with sleeping with Kristen Cole, who, as you guys can see now, Alicent was in love with Kristen Cole. So very interesting stuff there.
But she didn't lie. Rhaenyra didn't lie. She was asked a direct question. Did you sleep with your uncle?
Uncle, yeah.
And the answer was no.
She said,
but
she asked, "Are you still a maiden?" And she said, "I'm still a maiden." She lied about being a maiden.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Right.
Okay,
she busts down.
But it's just annoying because she's just so self-righteous. It's like she's just so, beyond the pale. She just, everything is just, it just is very frustrating because she is a babe in the woods in terms of, her not playing the game, but she's also not a babe in the woods because she knows what the clubfoot is hitting for, and she knows what her daddy sent her to do. And you're like, you know what I'm saying? She's not completely innocent. So when other people have their little skeletons in the closet, it's like, how dare you? How dare you? But for her, it's like, I read books, so I'm all right. You know what I mean? It's just an annoying trait that people have had throughout all of humanity, but it's just magnified in Alicent because this show is freaking fantastic, and I really am enjoying hating her. Her dresses are fire though, but everything else gotta be. She's trash.
She don't even do the little thing no more with her fingers.
Yeah,
I would expect to see that.
She's just
and then
stabbing
too,
people.
what's keeping her from
nails.
throwing it in a circle? What's keeping you from doing that? If you want to throw it in a circle, girl, do that. Your husband is dead, pretty much.
Yeah.
What they gonna do? Like, who is gonna know what they gonna say? What's gonna happen?
Man.
Play the Game of Thrones, girl. Like, zip it up. You know what I mean?
Well, you guys mentioned all your scenes, and no one mentioned it, which I'm glad because I can bring it up. Best scene in this, best moment in this scene. Little Aemon. I go back to Aemon, MVP for me. I might have lost an eye, blood for blood, mom. Nothing has to happen. I might have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon. Man, like I said, put that on a shirt, put that on a damn coffee mug, put it somewhere, man. That was a scene. And again, I'm not supporting little Aemon, but that was just a great line. And the way that kid delivered it too. Yeah. Chef's kiss.
Wasn't expecting that from him.
Oh, yeah. And someone mentioned earlier, he's playing the game.
What you gonna do now? You can't do nothing. I have the biggest dragon in the world. You better shut up talking to me. Don't talk to me at this point.
Look at that.
Like, you can't tell me nothing. I can speak High Valerian. I got the biggest dragon in the world. My brother gonna be the king, and he might, we never know. But I think he got that fire in him for real. Like, he has been ignited with that dragon, and he's gonna be something to deal with. And I feel like he probably 30 minutes after getting his eye chopped out is leaning into that skull. It's like, I'm bad out here.
This boy is about to be bad. He just got his ass whooped by his younger cousin. His eye was taken. He lost, right? But he really won. This little boy's about to be a
Yeah.
problem, like a
Yep.
straight up problem. And I'm
Ain't that a
here for it.
gospel
I
song?
love the villains of Game of Thrones.
I can't wait to see how him and his brother interact now. Because
Same.
now he got
his
the
brother.
big
Yeah,
dragon.
I was gonna say now his brother.
You know,
gonna
I'm
be
big
scared of
dog.
him.
You know,
Did
Right.
y'all
I'm
peep when the brother, the older brother was like just like annoyed or bored at the funeral, just like blowing, just like
Yeah.
bro.
Yep.
I wanted to
he's in La La
smack
Land right
him.
now.
Yeah.
He wants
so
to go back home
hard.
so he can go on the balcony and release some stress. Is what he's worried
But
about right now.
going back to that topic of fathers, though, what does he have, right? Because his daddy
Oh, yeah.
holding on, barely.
Right, his
Like his
daddy.
daddy
Barely.
can't
The
teach him how to
zombie.
be a knight. His daddy can't, impose. And you don't really see him, Viserys being a father
no.
or like rearing them in
No,
any
not
way
at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
at
great
all.
point, El.
You see him interacting with Rhaenyra,
Mhm.
but you don't really see him
Mhm.
interacting with
That's a
those
good point.
boys.
That's
And
a
I
really
think
good
it
point.
also kind of leans, kind of harkens back to, I had to marry Allison. I had to have these kids. I had to have an heir. I'm glad I have them, but it's
Yeah.
not the same kind of relationship that he has with Rhaenyra, who was conceived from a woman that he loved. Like he loved Emma.
Mhm.
And I don't know if he loves Allison. I think Allison was a nice, sweet little balm to his soul when he was
Mhm.
grieving. And I got the kids, I got the they cool. I love them, you know what I mean? But I don't have the same kind of bond with them, especially because he just holding on for dear life. You know what I mean? He got other stuff he got going on. But
But
I think too that the energy that Sir Christian Cole has is rubbing off on them, right? Because Sir Christian Cole is with them and he teaches them how to be knights in battle or whatever. But he has ugly energy. You know what I'm saying? He's teaching them to be bullies and teaching them to be he's not teaching them to be stand-up guys.
Stand up, noble.
Yeah. So,
knights, yeah.
and they're entitled and they're rich and their mama is like, nutty and that whole thing. So they're not gonna come out to be, upstanding citizens of King's Landing. They're gonna be trash like they are.
Well said, Johnny. What was you gonna say, Johnny?
But he didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to have children with her. He didn't have to. Well, some might say that he had to marry somebody because you don't want the king to not have a wife. But he didn't have to marry her, and he didn't have to have any heirs because he named his heir, and
Very true.
he should have known that he's going to cause this issue. And
right.
And I hate to keep going on about the weak king and everything, but that just shows that he just didn't really think this thing through, and it was all lust. It was all lust after this, hot young girl that's paying attention to him after he, after his loss, and he's got this hot young piece coming at, and playing Legos with him every night, and there we go.
Yeah. There we go. Is right. And guys, before we wrap it up, there was one father who was pretty happy about their child's action in this episode. This mofo here, he couldn't be happier. He couldn't be happier. LG, Johnny, and Skylar, he was happy. He's like, I didn't. We talked about it earlier. I didn't think you had it in you. I didn't know you had the high tower isms in you. He's pretty happy. Skylar, your thoughts on Otto and his thought process? Like, she's becoming the woman I know she would be.
Otto can burn in hell. Otto can burn in hell. It again, because we have that 360 view. It's like the whole war, really, like, of course, everybody's responsible for their own actions and have contributed to their bits to how we got here. But at the end of the day, the main mofo driving this is Otto. He playing a game. No one's playing a game but you.
Yeah, he's
like the king.
Right
The king was just fine with his daughter being the heir. He was willing to fight that battle. To people didn't like. He was willing to go through the fire for that. That was his choice, right? He was fine with Rhaenyra because after he had them kids, he could have said, "Okay, now it's not you. It's gonna be these boys." But he's still sticking with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra, she wants to be the queen. This is what she promised to her. She's cool with it, right? Them boys were not checking for that throne, right? Until the mom comes in there talking that talk. And she only in there talking that talk because she gonna kill your kids. She gonna kill your kids. And it's like Rhaenyra was never gonna touch them boys.
Right. She don't even care about them children.
She don't care about them. She only look at them as siblings. She don't look at them as even nephew. Their family tree. I don't even know what they are because their family tree is just weird to me. But like She like nobody was tripping on that throne but Otto, because Otto, just like and I can't remember his name, but the black dude, Rhaenys's husband.
Yeah,
Corlys, thank you. Just like y'all was saying, Corlys, he's the only one. Like he, just like y'all was saying earlier, she wasn't checking about her being the queen that never was, or whatever. It was Corlys. She gave that. It's, and I feel like that's a common thread in Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, whatever. A lot of people, they compete for this throne, but the main players, the main ones playing this game, are the men using people, particularly women, as these chess pieces. If you take Otto out the equation, you have none of this, right? Like whatever we see that happens from this episode, Otto, I feel, is directly the most responsible, because he came into that room with Allison and he's pouring gasoline on a raging. Allison was having a moment of clarity. I disgraced myself. I acted out of order. I did, she was starting to think for the first time in her entire life. And then here come Otto talking that talk and just being manipulative. And so every time I see him, I'm just like, you're not just impacting your daughter, you're ruining the realm, bro. Like they're about to go to war because you want power. You, sir, are the Kelly Rowland in this situation. Be happy with that.
Don't
be
do
satisfied
like that.
I'm sorry, but I love Kelly, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? It's like play you the hand of the king. Use second, third, whatever in line. That's cool. Be cool with that. But he just gotta have more. And every time you try to get a little bit more, you just mess everything up. You put everybody else in danger. And so this scene with Otto just irked me. Like I wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah, I'm telling y'all, man, I'm Team Black all day, but that Team Green is looking mean. You got Otto, you got Loris, you got obviously Allison, you got the dragons, you got the kids, they're pretty strong. They're pretty strong. But we're gonna wrap this episode up here. But a couple more things I want to point out, starting with you, El, is I felt bad for Lenore for a second, because when he's confined to his wife, like I haven't been there. I should have been there. I'm going to be there for you. And we get this powerful scene between these two. I'm like, okay, well, things are looking up and up. Only for us to, and again, they pulled the wool over my eyes again, El. Only for us to see Damon, I want you to be my husband, Damon. We got to make this happen. Well, I can't marry you if Lenore's in the way. They come up with the plan. They get his boo thing. They pay him some money. El, your thoughts on this whole scheming from this scene on to the fake out? Your thoughts?
So my question is, was the plan to make him free, or was the plan to take him out and then they did a little swoop-de-doo and then he got free and went? You know what I mean? Like, did Damon go to old boy and say, "Make it quick. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna give you the money and blah blah blah," or did he go to Lenore and was like, "Hey, they about to kill you, and I'm gonna just, we gonna fake it out, and then we gonna get on the boat. We gonna be together on the side." Like, I didn't understand that part, but I was glad that he wasn't dead, and he looks great with a shaved head. I was glad for that, but I just didn't know which. Do y'all know which one is it?
So you saw somebody take somebody out at first. That was the body that was
sacrificed himself.
So that was the body that
was in the fireplace
that Damon took out.
Yeah. So I think they planned the whole thing.
Damon took somebody out.
Yeah,
the guy that he snapped his neck. Yeah.
Damn. So a brother had to die.
Does that mean that they did a good thing?
Nah, for real though. I was thinking that too.
I guess to answer your question,
for no reason.
Yeah, right.
For no reason.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, goodness gracious. To answer your question, I think it was, we got to get him out of the way. We're gonna keep him alive, but we're gonna give him, have him have his little lucky, happy-go-lucky life. So I think it was kind of worked to the best of their advantage, and it worked to the, obviously Lenore agreed.
Then I was gonna be looking at Rhaenyra crazy. Like, you gonna, he just came to you and say, "I'm gonna be the man, and our arrangement is gonna be set, and I'm gonna be a stand-up guy. I'm gonna be with the boys, and I'm gonna do my thing. I can't be in the club all the time. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna do, what's right." And then she was like, "Man, all right, cool. I'm gonna just kill you, and then we just gonna move on, and I'm gonna do what I want." But seeing that, I'm cool with that. I appreciate that, and I think it was sad that Lord Corlys again, he got knocked down a couple pegs for me this episode. But you know, him and his wife having lost
Man, they
two
thought they
children
lost
on
their
the
two
same
kids.
day or
Yeah,
the
I didn't even
day
think
after
about
each
that.
other.
Yeah.
That's very upsetting. And I feel
Damn.
like the queen who never was, bless her heart, she gonna come out of this a totally different person. I don't know what her energy is gonna be coming out of this, but it's gonna be up times 12. But Laura
And wouldn't they
Corley,
think that it was Rhaenyra's though? Wouldn't they think it was her that set this up, that killed their son?
She said that.
Does it
She
really
said
work
they're
to
gonna
their
think
advantage?
that
Yeah,
we
that's
did it.
That we did it,
but
yeah.
they ain't gonna know, so they're gonna be scared. That's what that's
Yeah.
like.
Right.
How
She
they
ain't
said,
gonna
how
be
they explained
scared.
it, how they
Honestly, I don't
explained
know.
it, and versus how like it played out on screen was like a little different. Like the way it played out on screen looked a lot like more clean of a like
A plan.
a play or
Yeah.
plan, yeah, versus like how they set it up where it was just like, okay, you know, everybody gonna think we did it, but we really ain't do it.
But I didn't see how everybody would think that they had anything to do with it because they had that little boy that saw them fighting in there, right? Like the little
An audience, yeah, they
page
want
or whatever. Because that's what Damon was like. I need an audience, make it
Right.
quick, but I need an audience. So they had a little boy in there
Yeah.
that was like, I'm going to get the King's Guard.
Mhm.
And then by the
Yeah.
time they got back, they had a
The body
body
was
in the
in there.
fireplace.
Yeah,
Right.
they quick as
Because
hell,
they
man.
got married so quick.
That's
Mhm.
what I was about
Because
to say. Yeah.
yeah, because they
Yeah.
got married so quick, that's why everybody's gonna be
And
like,
nobody
no,
was
thumbs up.
there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
the
it was
heir
just
to
the
the
kids.
throne is getting married,
Yeah.
and it was just his kids and her kids and a
Right.
mace on the beach.
That pull up gonna be crazy
Yeah.
though. Next episode when they pull up
Man.
married, that's going. That's
Man,
going.
I don't know
that's
if
gonna
they
kill
told
Viserys.
anybody.
Viserys will be
Do
dead.
they have
He
to
will
get
die.
permission to get married? I don't know how that works, but whenever they pull up in that wagon and hop out in matching outfits, it's gonna be a
Viserys dead.
problem
He's
in
gonna be
King's
dead.
Landing.
Mhm.
But
Well, we
again,
know.
I started this episode saying, and I'm gonna end it saying, somebody gotta check on the kids because them children buried their parents on a Monday,
Yeah.
and by Wednesday they had a whole new set of parents.
Whole new family.
Yeah.
God
And
damn.
I gotta
Both
sit here
of 'em.
on the beach watching my
Damn,
daddy make out with my
yeah.
auntie. What?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Check on them children. Do a wellness check.
Man. G, your thoughts on this wrapping up this episode? The scheme, the plans, the new again. So hold up. Rhaenyra's kids that was their uncle, now it's their stepdad, and
Yeah.
the king's
Yeah.
brother is now his son-in-law. It's a lot going on.
It's
right now,
mixy. It's
very,
super
very
mixy.
It's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like how it played out because it set up for a dope reveal at the end.
It caught me off
But
guard,
yeah, but as far as like this actual scene right here, I was like, oh, ain't no way they about to kill my man's off E like this. Like
Right.
he just said he was gonna do better.
Gonna be better. I'm gonna do better.
But
be better.
yeah, but I think them two looking at the bigger picture, I was like, okay, like yes, you can be a better husband and a better father to these kids, but that's not really gonna help them. Like the only way we could really keep them safe type beat is if we combine these houses real quick. And then we're gonna have multiple dragons. We're gonna have the strongest show of force going into this like next few episodes because the big dragon gone. We don't know where Lenor dragon went, and it's just it's gonna be tough. But I was excited to see that he didn't get murked off. But I did feel bad for whoever did get murked off because I was like that when I saw him, I was like, okay, that scene makes a lot more sense now.
Mhm.
And I thought it was funny because he was like, Corliss, after the fact where they found out, he was like, in my own house. He was
Right.
like,
How could y'all let this happen?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I was upset with him because it's not like, oh no, my son, my only son. It's like
Right.
it's a dead
Mom.
body in my fireplace. Like, what
Right.
is going on? Like, that's not the right response.
Yeah.
This
didn't like
fireplace ain't paid off yet.
Right.
Right. He was giving me
Oh,
asshole
man.
this whole episode, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. So that's what I think. But overall, dope episode for sure.
Johnny, man, again, I feel so bad for Rhaenys, man. She just lost her daughter. Now she's under the impression that she lost her son. I mean, look at that scream, that cry, that oh man, I wonder what path she's gonna go on. I think someone actually mentioned that earlier. Is she gonna go down this more ruthless, cold-hearted, eye for an eye? Like your thoughts on that, and of course your thoughts on this ending, man.
Well, I feel bad for Rhaenys, but when Corlys earlier showed his lust for power, and she kind of shut him down, it shows you where that relationship has gone, and he still wants that, but she, had to remind him, no, you're the only one that really wanted that. And as far as this at the end, where we're going to see the lines that are drawn, you saw it already, because I love that shot when the dagger takes his blood and the blood's dripping, and you see Daemon and you see Rhaenyra on one side, and that was kind of a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to me. Okay, they're going to be the ones that are together, because look, this is how we're splitting the room apart.
Yeah.
But I felt bad for the guy that had to lose his life, because when somebody in the chat mentioned, when Daemon puts that hoodie on, nothing good is going to happen.
It's over with.
Dark Daemon.
Batman.
It's like Joe from you.
So I feel bad for the guy that ended up but I do feel good for Laenor, and being able to live his life, and being able to be freed from everything. And now, and again, as I stated before, this is now going to bring the story forward, and here we are. The lines have been drawn.
The hoodie of death. The hoodie of death. Skylar, man, jump in here, man. Thoughts on this final scene? The game is now afoot, and the blacks versus the greens are officially a go.
The game is now officially afoot. This is another great episode, another great turn by these writers, the director, the actors, just great storytelling. Love the reveal at the end. Super excited about that, obviously, hence the big happy yellow background. But a little sad now that I remember that another brother had to die for that to happen. I'm also wondering too, like, maybe this is just me being nitpicking, but I think that was a dark-skinned dude, and nobody on this show seems to pay attention to complexions at all, because you could have looked at his hand or something to see that this isn't him.
That body was charred up, though.
But not all
well
the
done.
way. Like, it wasn't like his leg. Like, I just feel like,
and he had boots on. His legs weren't cooked either.
True.
So
they could have pulled them boots off. And I say that too because, like, I don't know. It's. I feel like Damon's daughters, they would be a little bit lighter, right? Like, it's just I don't know. I'm thinking they start to see black people as interchangeable on this show, and like we can't tell the difference between somebody as light as Laenor or whatever, however you say his name, and random night dude that got his neck snapped. That's just a random aside. But overall, love the episode. I do think there's probably going to be a bunch of think pieces tomorrow about how House of Dragon finally did a gay character right, because you do hear a lot about there's this trope of like kill your gays, I think is what they call it, where, like, a gay character, they never get the happy ending. Yeah, they never get the happy ending, and
then they banished him.
Yeah. And because I saw that there were think pieces when they killed his first boyfriend, Joffrey or whatever. So so I think there's gonna be a bunch of think pieces on that, but I think they really handled that well, with except another guy getting killed. Just another great episode. I do think these characters don't think far enough ahead, because somebody should have slipped Rhaenys the note, even if it was like you're saying like a riddle, let her in on the game? Let her in on the game or something, because a mother who just lost both her kids, she about to be, she about to go as hard as Alicent and Rhaenys, so they should have thought that. But then my last thing is, and again, this might be me being nitpicky, do they ever govern? Like, I don't never see nobody talk about taxes, or there's a well that got flooded.
Right. You want them to pass some legislation?
Yeah, I want some legislation. I don't never see no legislation. It's just these people are bickering back and forth. Like, if you didn't know any better, you would know that these are like rulers of vast areas and kingdoms and stuff. I'm like, Where's
I
I
think
think
that's
the
the
council in a long time.
I don't care about the wells being dug, and I don't
yeah. I
care
would
about
say
the
that was
cat
more. That was
breed.
definitely more of a Game of
I don't
Thrones
care.
greater. This is a more intimate story focusing on these family dynamics versus the world
But
building isn't as
It's about
fast.
what's
But
happening in
even
the
Game of
house.
Thrones,
In the house,
but even
exactly.
Game of Thrones didn't really do it that much either. It was a lot of like fighting between the houses and whatnot.
They
But I don't know,
they
just
had some coin talk. They were talking about
You
how
can
the
a little bit. It was.
you're
with
gonna
Tyler,
you're gonna have to watch Andor for that if you want to talk about ruling. They
If I want
got
the
a lot of
political
that.
intrigue,
Johnny,
if I want
Johnny,
the House of Cards,
don't
Right,
go
right.
on my Andor. That show is
Yeah,
is
yeah.
I'm really enjoying that. Yeah, or Lord of the Rings is
Right.
which I heard last episode was fantastic. I'm still 5 episodes behind, but
Me too.
I am
I
too.
tried
even
getting
start.
into it. I couldn't. I
can't.
gave
I
it like
can't
3
get it.
episodes.
Can't
and
What stuff going on?
get
I
jiggy
couldn't
with it.
get past them little children in the woods eating berries. I was like, let me go ahead
The
and
hard
watch
foots.
I wanted to like it because I'm like I want to piss the racists off and be like it's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
show, y'all.
Yeah.
Racist, misogynist. It's a good show, and I just like damn, I can't get into it.
Can get
Not
jiggy
like I
with
can get
this.
into House of Dragons because clearly
Mac,
Yeah.
your
this is
profile
amazing.
picture is very pretty. That don't have
Mac
nothing
is
to do with what we
just
saying. I just
Mac
wanted
is
to tell
just
you that. It's very pretty, girl.
Mac is awesome. Mac is
Yeah.
awesome. And to answer your question, Mac.
Mhm.
So yes, next week will be the final time jump. We're going to see the kids are now going to be teenagers, and apparently from the showrunners and the creators, the next week's cast will be the permanent cast. Obviously
Right.
some people might die, this and the other, but there won't be any more like giant time jumps like we've gotten. What 4 in this? That is
Too
still
many.
crazy to me that we get so many.
Yeah.
15 years worth of time jumps, but wrapping this thing up, y'all. This is I said it almost with L earlier, almost 12 hours ago when we went on our Atlanta stream at 12 p.m. This is my favorite day of the week, y'all. Atlanta, obviously, which we talked about earlier, and then this show with you all, the community. This is easily my favorite day. I look forward to this. I'm gonna miss it in about 3 weeks. But this is fantastic. This is a great episode. A lot of great discussions, a lot of great theories, a lot of good things you all point out through today's discussion, and you guys make this awesome. So, starting with you, El, outroing out this thing. Final thoughts, and of course, where people can find you, and where can they find your next breakdown for House of Dragon?
Okay, so I'm going to be filming my recap for this episode on tomorrow. Going to post it on tomorrow, God willing, and check that out because I'm very excited to talk about this. I got to get on my sofa to get comfortable. That's why I do all my recaps, and I just sit crisscross applesauce and just let it rip. So I'll be doing that on tomorrow. But as far as this episode, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was beautiful, tense, inappropriate, and just ridiculous at all at the same time. It had a lot of themes dealing with parenthood, motherhood, fatherhood, traditional values and things that we think like in the Western or American way that we're used to seeing, and we just don't get that in this show. But I like it. I get to hate a child actor. I just enjoy that. Like when the child is trash on the show, I don't know. It just makes me happy. I get to hate them little children. It just was good. But yeah. So I'm really interested to see when they do the time jump. We're gonna get the kids to be older. I cannot wait to see Damon and Lena's children. I think those little girls will be fire. Because if they were jumping like some spider monkeys at like 7, can you imagine when they are teenagers and have trained and done their thing and got their dragons? They gonna come to King's Landing and just tear down. And I'm very excited to see that. So that's what I'm looking forward to next week. But I also want to see Rhaenyra and Daemon be married because that's that toxic energy that they don't even. They are just so bad for each other. And I don't know if it's just they so horny they can't see it. I don't know, but they're terrible for each other. And I'm very excited to see that too.
Well said, Al. And the guys, but again, once this video is fully uploaded, I'm going to leave all these great people's information in the description, but definitely subscribe to Elle if you haven't already. Her, as she mentioned, her therapy sessions on the couch are always fire. I always love watching those. So shout out to you, Elle. And thank you again for joining me literally 12 hours ago and coming back.
We spend the whole Sunday together.
This is the best. It's the best, Elle. It's the best. Shout out to you. But tossing over to my man, G. Again, appreciate you coming on, man. Always bringing a great fire, great commentary. Where can people find you, and what's the next bit of content you got lined up for people this week?
All right, so y'all can follow me at Janato Reviews on YouTube. I'm going to be having an intergalactic spoiler-free review will drop, and then a longer version of review will drop later on in the week. And then we also are going to be having a podcast drop this week about House of Dragons, of course, with my homie Chris at the YM Geek Show. And yeah, I'll probably do some reactions to something, whatever dropped this week. I'm gonna react to it as well, and I'm trying to get back on all the socials.
Yes. Definitely check them out. Trailer reactions, great commentary, man. Definitely check them out, man. Johnny, my friend, tossing it to you. What's the next bit of content you have lined up, or another script you have lined up for the fine folks at home?
Like I said, I keep threatening to get on YouTube and do some reviews, but that hasn't happened yet. But San Diego International Film Festival, my short film Into the Daylight is going to be shown as part of that festival, and it's also online at sdiff.org, I believe. And just love this episode. Everybody's talking about the toxicity of Damon and Rhaenyra. But I love it. They make a toxic soup, and it's so delicious. And I want more of it.
Yes,
and I want to like spin that ladle around, and I want to eat right out of that pot, and I want to take that whole pot and just drink it all up.
There you go.
Johnny.
This is awesome.
Love it.
This is just incredible television.
Yes, sir.
And I love it.
Well said, Johnny. Yeah, give me a spoon too, Johnny. Let me get in that pot and eat up that toxicity that we get. That makes great television. And speaking of great, tossing over to my man Skylar, coming on, jumping right into the conversation with some great commentary. Where can people find you, my friend? And what would be a bit of content do you have people lined up in the coming weeks?
You guys can catch me on pretty much all the socials: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at Skylar Writer, as you see under there, Skylar_Writer. I'm a little nervous. I feel like I should just say it because then that'll force me to commit to finally doing it. But I think I'm gonna launch my first YouTube channel this weekend or this week.
Do it, Skylar. Do it.
So I'm gonna finally do it.
No button.
So yes,
Well,
should I say the name now? Or should I like wait till next week and be like, y'all can check me out there?
It's up to you.
I will wait. So okay, should I tell you? Okay, it's gonna be drum roll. It's gonna be Black Dude Does the News.
Come
And
on.
it is I want to have one YouTube where it's like to get all my little political opinions out the way, and then another one to do like my creative stuff. The creative stuff I'm gonna take a little more work and like editing and things like that. So this will just be Black Dude Does the News. It's just gonna be picking a topic or two a day and doing like a 5 minute video, 5 to 10 minute video breaking down whatever this issue is, right? So just Biden announced student loan debt. We're gonna talk about it for 5 minutes and then boom, quick, no fuss, no muss. That's the plan. That's the idea.
Sweet.
Now that I've put that out there, I have to stop
Got to do it now.
finding
gotta
excuses to
Lock
put
that
up
channel
the
name
link.
down.
And
I already did. I already locked it down. I did. I locked
on
it down.
World War III, you gotta let us know because they say we about to go to World War III, so you gotta keep us posted.
Yeah, man.
I
We got
got
the
you.
recession.
I got
We
you.
got all this.
Yeah.
crazy going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what the Black Dude Does the News will be coming this week. So check that
Awesome.
out. It already is up. So if you want to find and subscribe, go ahead. And then of course you can check my bylines and things like that on blacknerdproblems.com. Have some also live video interviews. Like I even did one with Gina Prince Bythewood when she did that movie on Netflix a few months ago.
Guard.
Yes, the old guard. So I got to interview her a few months. So just a lot of stuff on there.
Nice.
We do a lot of great things on that channel, blacknerdproblems.com. And then lastly, I just want to say y'all can have that incest soup. Ain't enough salt and pepper, not enough season, not enough Lowry's. You can have it. All that it's just
Too much.
You
for
know
this
you
guy.
love to
Too
watch
much.
it and hate
I
it
love to
with
watch. I love to but I just somebody, I don't remember who said it, but somebody has said that's not even a family tree. It's just like a trunk with one branch.
Oh,
Like
my
that's how they
goodness.
described it. And I was like, that's perfect. I'm gonna steal that. That's exactly what it
Ooh.
is.
I'm not a book reader, but Coyote, I like where your mind's at. Mad King.
Because all the
I like. Ooh, I'm loving it. Well, listen. For myself, LG, Johnny, my man Skylar, thank you all for your time on this beautiful Sunday. It's spooky season, y'all. So as far as this week, I just finished watching any Mike Flanagan fans out there, his new series, The Midnight Club, dropping on Netflix this Friday. Expect a review for that. Big Clive Parker here, fan here, so I'm gonna be watching Hellraiser. Maybe I might watch tonight. It might be too late, but we'll see. But keep an eye out for that. And then we some MCU fans over here. Werewolf by Night dropping later
Hell
this
yeah,
week.
it is.
Can't wait.
Mhm.
Can't wait.
Who's that
Can't
one?
wait. So keep an eye out for all that content again for LG, Johnny, Skylar. The links will be in the description. Subscribe, follow them, show them some love and support because they deserve it, because they're just awesome people and they got great content for you all. So y'all have a great week. Watch out for them Targaryens. Watch out for that little Aemon with his sword and his dragon.
Mhm.
And y'all be safe out there. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.